What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Boys in the Big Apple podcast. Sean will be on late tonight. But with that being said, let's introduce the panel. We got Luca here, and we got Donald Stewart from Pinstripe Chronicles. So let's get right into it. Like I usually do with the panel, I usually ask how the weekend was and just some headlines on some basic sports topics. Obviously, Donald's from Pinstripe Chronicles, so we'll be talking about the Yankees for the first part of tonight's podcast episode. So, Luca and then Donald, then we'll get right into it.
Not a great weekend for me sports overall. The Knicks blew a double-digit lead in the third quarter on Friday. Notre Dame did end up picking up the W against UVA, and Sunday was a disaster with the Jets completely getting obliterated by the Bills. So not a great weekend.
Donald?
Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me, guys. It's a pleasure to be here. Echo the Knicks sentiments. I think that set my weekend back pretty bad. And Giants had a bye week, so I just kind of just watched all the NFL games on Red Zone. So hey, Sunday was okay, but the Knicks are kind of concerning me a little bit right now.
Yeah, I don't blame you there. So obviously, for the last couple of weeks on here, we've been talking about the Yankees offseason, a couple other things as well. Kind of want to get your thoughts. Obviously, Carlos Correa has been a hot topic in this whole offseason, along with the shortstop position. And also, according to a buddy of mine, he just tweeted out a couple of minutes ago on Twitter that the Yankees have a deal on the table for Justin Verlander. Kind of want to get your thoughts on that, Donald.
The Verlander thing, I'm a little nervous about that with his injury history. Brian Cashman loves him some injured starters. So as awesome a pitcher as he's been throughout his career, I'm very hesitant about his injury record at this point. And his age, I think we can get a little younger. I would, what I would do if we're discussing a deal with Matt Olson, I would throw in I'd try and add Mania to the deal. I think if you got a young, controllable starter to add to your rotation, I think that would be more beneficial than adding 16, 17, 18 million dollar per year on Verlander. That's my initial thoughts. And I wouldn't hate bringing back Tanaka, along with, like I say, a Maneri uncontrollable starter. I think that would make more sense. But Verlander is a great pitcher when he's healthy. But, can we rely on that?
Yeah, I'm going to give my thoughts before Luca goes on his. But personally, I just don't like Justin Verlander as a person. I think he's a bit of a loudmouth scumbag. But, a lot of people... But a lot of people, the people who want Correa and the people who want some of these other guys, they feel that New York, as in the Yankees, need a talker, someone who talks shit. Because not everybody's afraid of Judge, not everybody's afraid of Stanton, maybe the size, but even if I didn't hate Verlander as a person, he's coming off of an injury. He hasn't pitched since 2020, 2019, so he's not totally reliable. And if he's going to decline Houston's offer, which we don't know, that's what November. I think it's this week. He actually has to accept that qualifying offer. I'm still not sold. There are guys in your system potentially that you could maybe put in a fifth starter role. Personally, I don't see Nestor Cortez as a fifth starter long term. Maybe Herman in there, maybe Hill in there. There's a couple of guys you could figure, but also, go in free agency or like you said, which is actually a good idea. Sean Manaea as a fifth starter, put him in that Olsen deal also as well. Maybe someone like Chris Bassett. I don't know what season he's coming off of, but Chris Bassett's another guy that you could put in there as well. Luca, your thoughts?
Overall, I'm not a fan of bringing in Verlander because not only the main reason for me is he's probably going to want some big money at the end of his career. He's probably not going to be the same pitcher he once was. If you're going to add him, if the Yankees are probably going to add him, they're going to probably add him to be like a middle of the road guy to be like their third starter. But my approach is he's going to want big money, and also, as Donald mentioned, injury history. Not only that, but to the sense of he had Tommy John surgery. He's coming off of that, and he's 39 years old. So there's definitely a risk there.
Are you guys getting Corey Kluber vibes from this deal?
Yes.
I get serious Corey Kluber vibes. With the fact that the Yankees loved his workout, and and the trainer is linked to the Yankees, and it's all that stuff. It's just very similar to the Corey Kluber thing. And we overpaid for Kluber. Kluber was great with that no hitter, but if I had the choice between having one healthy guy all year long that could pitch in the playoffs or having a no hitter, I'm sorry, I choose somebody that could go all year and pitch in the playoffs. So that's the concern here, man. I'm getting Kluber vibes with this.
Yeah. So obviously, to mention one of the bigger topics is Carlos Correa. A buddy of mine also said that, Trevor Story is still an option for the Yankees. There's also, guys you could pull in your system. Volpe, Peraza, Marcus Simeon's an option who's coming off of a season where he hit 45 home runs. Corey Seager as well. Me personally, I'm kind of in the middle. I get where, the controversy comes in with Correa. At the same time, he is a good ball player, but also you just don't want that whole thing of, Correa is going to be a distraction, because it seems like whether he's not a distraction in the locker room, it's going to be a distraction with the New York media pressuring him and doing all these sorts of things, even though sometimes they don't do it to other players. He's a good player, but I don't think the Yankees should get him. From what I heard today, he's possibly a favorite to go back to Detroit with AJ Hinch. So that's also, a possibility. Corey Seager, I know he's not a great fielder, but, you got the lefty bat, which is something the Yankees really didn't have last season to start. I mean, they depended on guys like Talkman and Ford and all these other guys, but, it didn't work out. So I'm interested in your thoughts, and I want to see how Luka feels on it, even though I've gotten his thoughts a bunch of times. I want to see if it's changed.
Okay, so for me, obviously Seager seems a natural fit for the fact he's a lefty bat, a big power lefty bat. He could, ideally, you could look to him to play short for maybe, say, 2 years until Volpe is ready, and then you can move him to third and have Volpe play short. That could work theoretically, because obviously you're factoring in the fact his defense is declining. He's not great defensively. Seager, Correa is kind of the whole package, man. He's a sensational defensive shortstop. He's got a rocket arm. I love what he does defensively, and he's obviously a clutch hitter over the years. But then you think about the Astros scandal, the cheating scandal, and the fact that the Astros were fairly unapologetic about it and slightly de-nozzle about it about the whole thing. How is, like, for instance, Aaron Judge gonna accept him in the locker room? Because I know how much that affected him. That scandal, you know what I mean, and it affected the whole Yankee organization. I think Seager is probably the safer bet. My question is, right, with knowing Hal Steinbrenner's history, right, is he going to add another $300 million contract along with Garrett Cole, Giancarlo Stanton? You're going to have to pay Aaron Judge. Is he going to want to add $300 million to a shortstop when, you might be adding on, for instance, an Olsen possibly at first base? Can you see that? I'm unsure about that.
Yeah, I would definitely. I've seen reports that have said, Hal Steinbrenner is not going to pay another $300 million contract for an amount of years. So I definitely agree that Seager's a safe bet. And going back to, and a lot of people obviously, are fighting about, Judge thinks this about the Astros team of 2017, and a lot of people are saying, Judge's opinion doesn't matter, blah blah blah. My thing is that, in some cases, you can say, Judge's opinion doesn't matter at some points. But Judge ultimately is one of the core pieces of this team, one of the homegrown pieces of this team, and one of the more consistent. I understand a lot of people point him as, injury prone, that we should trade him. I don't believe in that. I truly think he's a leader to some point, some standard. But that's a guy if Hal Steinbrenner has to think about it, and Brian Cashman as well. Who are you going to pick? It's kind of an ultimatum in a way, because it's either you get Correa and then you have Judge dislike him for a year, and Judge tests free agency and goes to another squad, or what you have is you don't have Correa, you get Seager, and then Judge is happier. It's kind of a lose-lose situation. But once again, the safer bet, the safer option is Corey Seager, and maybe like Marcus Semien compared to a couple other options out there, Correa, and there's also other options like Andrelton Simmons, who's like a stopgap. I'd rather just get Semien for a year or Seager and then move him over to third base. But I think Judge's opinion doesn't matter, but it does matter because I feel like he's the next captain of this team. There's a lot of stories that go back to even his minor league days when he wasn't known, and he's sitting there, he's sitting with Hoy-Jun Park at the lunch table waiting for him to finish. There's a lot of stories out there that people are like, oh, well, I didn't know this. And I was actually chatting with one of the people in my comment section about it. He's like, yeah, I didn't know that story until he told me. Well, you know what? I think his opinion does matter in one case, once again, but I just, as a Yankee fan, maybe it's me being a Yankee fan and just not wanting the media pressure, but I just don't think that Correa is going to mend well in the Bronx. And even with the Jeter comments, apparently it's been clarified.
That doesn't help. That does not help.
It does not help. Apparently now he only said it when it comes to defensive runs saved or something like that. It's like, I'm the middleman here, but you're not making your bed comfier. You're making it harder. You're making it harder for the fans to take you if you indeed sign. And it's interesting. We'll see. We'll see, though. Luca, your thoughts?
See, Correa is a talented ball player. We all know that. My thing is, yes, he can be considered a distraction. The New York media will latch on to him with all these stories. You brought up the Jeter story, who was personally my favorite ball player of all time, Derek Jeter.
Of course, yeah, me too.
Yeah, definitely. What he said about Jeter, his comments post the Astro scandal, involvement in the Astro scandal, whatnot. But if honestly, I don't want to soften. I don't want to seem like to soften my stance. But if he comes to the Yankees, I'm honestly not going to hate it, unless it's like a cancerous kind of thing where it causes bad locker room vibes or some stuff.
Yeah, what Luca's trying to say is Correa shuts his mouth, then he can sit here and have a home. But the way Correa's personality is, once again, he's not making his bed any comfier.
Right. And our other co-host Sean, Alex, didn't he say that when he goes to the stadium next year, he's going to boo Correa?
I honestly don't believe he will do that, me personally, because he's just, for instance, and I'll definitely rip him later on when he comes on, but he is one that doesn't get like multiple people, millennials to be exact, saying, oh, well, the wave sucks. Meanwhile, he was championing with the people, because we went to it was like 8-0 Yankees against the Indians. It was a Friday night after the Giants actually played the football team. They lost. But the night after, we went to the stadium, and then the whole bleacher creature section, because that's my favorite section now, at least, the 2 times I've been there. He was basically agreeing with them, don't do the wave. But other sections around us were doing the wave, and they weren't happy about that. So I don't think he would do that, Luca, but you know what? I think he would. He said it himself in ways that he would not root for Correa unless he's a World Series MVP. And, if he ever wins a legitimate World Series. So I'll have to pressure him later on that. Now, another thing I want to get to, of course, is this whole Matt Olson thing. And people are talking about, you got to package Voit in, you got to package Glaber in. Packaging Glaber in is definitely something I think the Yankees should consider. I think they should do it, in all honesty. One of the things that this podcast in general has been a big proponent of is making Stanton an outfielder. If you got Stanton how many years ago, you shouldn't be worrying about the injuries. If he's a DH, if he's hitting, you shouldn't be worrying about the injuries. And he's not even hustling out of the box. Let's be honest. Even though he had a good season last year, he's not hustling out of the box. So, that's a lesser chance of injury. For me, I personally don't like that. But you know what? That's just me picking at Giancarlo Stanton. But, Sean, who once again is not here, he's late Larry again. He thinks Voit should be the DH because he's not good defensively at first base. Get Matt Olson, get Anthony Rizzo, and there's also Freddie Freeman talks, but a lot of people are saying, oh, well, that's just a smokescreen to get Atlanta to give him a bigger deal and put Giancarlo Stanton in the left field and then go on from there. What are your thoughts on the whole DH stuff, Matt Olson deal, stuff like that?
Okay, first of all, as a Pinstripe Chronicles on our show, we've always championed Stanton and the outfield. Totally proponent of it. You just see how much his game's actually progressed since he was in the outfield. His batting average shot right up. His power numbers shot right up. He just some guys are more invested in the game when they're involved in it. So I think Stanton is an athletic guy. He's not a bad outfielder by any stretch of the imagination. Because I remember during the year, Michael Kay was interviewing Cashman, and it was during that time where we basically had no outfielders. Everybody was hurt, and Stanton was being ramped up, and Cashman said it was like an extended spring training. My first question is, well, why didn't you actually have him ramped up during spring training so that he was able to play left field or the outfield as soon as there was any injuries? So that's the first thing. I think that next year, I think he should be on a rotational basis in the outfield. He can DH, say, twice a week, something like that. Play the out, or maybe 3 times a week. Play outfield twice a week. Protect his legs. I think you can maybe share it a little bit. As for Luke Voit, I don't think Brian Cashman's going to keep him under any circumstances. I don't think that his attitude once he acquired Rizzo is something that Brian Cashman wants on the locker room. Voit kind of spoke a little bit too much. Kind of like, oh, well, look what I've done for this organization. You've not actually done that much for the organization. You're a pretty good player, man, but chill. I didn't like that. And I remember when he hit a home run when we lost the game and he was doing the hamburger thing or whatever that is, wrestling nonsense. I just think that I think it's kind of a moot point. Cashman's going to trade him. I think that's a fact. In fact, I think he probably makes sense in the Olsen negotiations because I do want to move on from Gleyber Torres. I completely agree with that. I think he needs to be traded. I just don't know if he'll be added to the Oakland deal because I'm not sure what his arbitration would be. And remember, Oakland are looking to cut salary. So Voit might be the cheaper option in regards to that. But I think you could package Torres in another deal. So I think we can definitely agree on that. So yeah, that's where I'm at on that. For sure.
Real quickly before Luca gives his thoughts, and I just want to shout out to members of the chat. Rob Nerding Out Sports says bring Craig out of the Bronx.
Hey Rob.
Also, Blue City Empire Sports says breaking news: the Yankees just made an offer to Verlander. Yeah, that I did see that. And we'll see where it goes. Luca, your thoughts on the whole Olsen Voit situation?
I didn't necessarily agree with Sean's projected lineup when it came to Olsen, whatever. Like, remember, Alex, he said that LeMahieu should be playing shortstop?
LeMahieu's, it's just like...
That's not where his value's at.
LeMahieu's value is at second base. People are talking about, give him third base, give him shortstop, give him first base. No, you put him at second. And if you even have an average fielder like Corey Seager at shortstop, that's better than Gleyber Torres and Corey Seager. So that's what I will say. But I don't know that LeMahieu has ever played shortstop with the Yankees, nor do I agree with it. And I said before, I would rather put Urshela at shortstop than I would LeMahieu at short. But obviously, we'll see what happens with that. Luca, you keep going.
I was going to continue on to say, it's so important. I like the Olsen stuff. I mean, he had an all-star season. We all know that. My point is, try your best to improve the first base position. But what I was going to say was it's so underratedly important how important the first baseman is. Because what if the Yankees don't have Rizzo last year towards the end? Gleyber Torres would be making so many more errors
Oh yeah.
and so many more bad throws. It's such first base is honestly such an underrated position. So it's best to have at least a Gold Glover there, and Rizzo is a Gold Glover there. You also got, as we said, Olsen, solid fielder as always, but I think it's an important position to upgrade this season, off season.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
Who would you prefer, Olsen or Rizzo, considering how great Rizzo was as a Yankee?
There's that. I'm gonna break it down a little bit. There's that leadership standpoint in Rizzo, which this Yankee team desperately needs, and a lot of millennials think. Well, millennial Yankee fans, newer age Yankee fans think, oh well, the leadership part doesn't matter. I believe it does personally, and the way I see things is the Yankees have to overcompensate with talent because they don't have a manager and they like to spend a lot. And that's what they obviously do. They spend a lot. They try to get the talent out there, but sometimes the manager and sometimes the other players, they don't sync up to the moment. So that's, you look at the Rays, obviously they don't spend a lot. The coaches, make the most out of them. Look at the Braves, Travis d'Arnaud, a lot of scraps on that World Series team, and they won the World Series. But going back to my Olsen Rizzo point, Olsen obviously had a career year this year. I think he cut down the strikeouts. He was an all-star. So it's a tough one. I really don't know any player on this team right off the top of my head that has won a World Series. But also, I think I would prefer Olsen only to a slighter margin. But at the same time, I would not say that Rizzo is a bad option to bring back. And if they don't bring Rizzo back or they don't trade for Olsen, just use that investment somewhere else. Use those prospects you're going to trade for Olsen. Maybe trade it away for somebody else. Jose Ramirez, that's someone who I'm very much on the train for in terms of bringing him over. I personally don't know how he is as a fielder. I know he's a little chunky, but he was, a pretty good hitter last year compared to, well, at least in my standards, because I look at strikeouts, I look at batting average, I look at walks, and you see these other players across the MLB, their strikeouts are up, their batting average is up. So I would prefer Olsen just slightly over Rizzo, but I would not have a problem with either or. Also, Rob says cousin Donald, and then Blue City Empire Sports says keep Carlos Correa from the I can't talk today. Keep Carlos Correa away from the Yankees after what he said about Derek. Yeah. Also, people bringing up something that A-Rod said about Derek Jeter in 2001. That was relating to, Paul O'Neill and Bernie Williams are the scary ones, not Derek Jeter. So something like that. But I'll let Luca kind of give his thoughts on the Olsen situation, first base situation as well.
I'm going to take Alex's side on this one. I'm overall fine with either of them, but I would say Olsen is the better one. Rizzo, I think you'll get a more team-friendly deal.
Right. Right. Also, something that we should talk about, and a lot of Yankee fans, starting last year, kind of talked about this a little bit. Thoughts on Gary Sanchez? I don't think he's the catcher of the future. I don't think he should be. I think he just needs a change of scenery where people are not going to nitpick, and maybe a situation like Pittsburgh if the Yankees trade for Jacob Stallings, or a situation like somewhere else. But I truly don't think that he is the future catcher. I don't think he has effort. I think he's very lazy, if you want my opinion. And they got to go out, in my personal opinion, once again, and go trade for somebody that's going to be a stopgap or sign a free agent stopgap, because you got two guys in the minor leagues like Antonio Gomez and Austin Wells. Austin Wells was in the Fall Stars game a couple of days ago, who are not ready, but they will be ready in about a year, maybe 2 years. And you need that one guy to hold the fort down. Meanwhile, you don't necessarily want Gary Sanchez on the field. And also other people have brought up the standpoint of, Gary Sanchez can also play DH. See, in the National League,
Mind if I interrupt you for a sec?
Sure, go ahead.
Apparently, the Yankees offered Verlander a 1 to 2 year deal.
I would honestly like to. Hopefully, it's not like $40 million. Hopefully, it's not, because if it is, yeah, good night. No. But I don't think. Realistically, I don't think that Hal's going to pay that much. But back to my point about Gary, people see him as a National League DH and all these other things. you don't have to worry about the catcher position in terms of offensive production if you have defensive production and if the rest of the offense can just produce. If LeMahieu was injured, you would have seen more production there. A couple other guys, all across the field. So I want to get your thoughts on the whole Gary Sanchez situation and maybe what the Yankees should do this offseason in terms of replacing him as a catcher, possibly.
Luca, do you want to go first, or?
You can go ahead, Donald.
Okay. I've been ready to move on from Gary Sanchez for a good couple of years now. The ironic thing was really scary was actually he improved this past year as opposed to the previous one, but he was still bad. In fact, I think that that play against the Mets where he had 15 feet to tag the guy. That was one of the worst plays I think I've ever seen in all my years of watching sports, not just baseball, but sports. This is one of the worst plays. It was awful. It was lazy, and it speaks to a guy that's overly coddled, and there is a laziness aspect to it. And I think I put some of it on the Yankees purely because A, they coddled him, and B, they kind of messed him around. I mean, he's had all these different catching instructors. Pena worked with him for a while. You had Girardi working with him for a while. Then now you've moved on with Swanson, and you're trying to overly focus and fixate on one aspect of catching, which was his framing, which obviously slightly improved, but the whole rest of it, his range, everything else is a complete mess. It's a catastrophe actually for a starting catcher. That is not something that the Yankees can keep doing, man. And also, pitchers don't really like throwing to him, man. Kluber didn't like throwing to him. Garrett Cole certainly doesn't like throwing to him. I mean, that's just a name too. I don't know how you can keep doing that. I know he's Brian Cashman's guy, but sometimes you just kind of have to move on. And Sanchez has got the power, and for a while he was on an insane trajectory. He could have been on an unbelievable trajectory, and it's a shame that it's not worked out. I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's tried to improve. He's tried to do everything the Yankees have asked him to do, but the Yankees have made some missteps, and generally he's just not a good defensive catcher. And I think when you're talking about if you're going to have a whole power lineup, you don't need a power catcher. Yes, it's a bonus, but if my catcher can be excellent receiver and pitchers like throwing to him and you could trust that he's blocking everything that's going to be in the dirt, I much prefer that. That's personal for me. But I know that on the Prince Ray Chronicles, and my friend Rob who's watching, he's a big Gary Sanchez guy. So I'm not sure if he'll be too happy with what I said there, my good friend Rob. But I think it's time to move on personally.
Also, before I get Luca into this, I hate that one knee catching shit.
Oh,
I
God.
just hate it. Makes him even more lazier.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm going to give my thoughts on the Sanchez thing. I really thought the Yankees should have got rid of him after last year, but I was like, you know what? Let's give him another chance. I was a big proponent of the Yankees going after JT Realmuto in free agency. Obviously, that did not work out, and he re-signed with the Philadelphia Phillies, but I think the Yankees really put themselves in a hole with this situation because you don't have an exact answer at the moment. Austin Wells is down in what level is he at, Alex?
He's at Double-A.
He's Double-A, high, whatever. But Yankees really put themselves in a hole, and the only way you can really solve this catching problem for the moment, A, you could trade for Jacob Stallings, or B, you could sign a stopgap and then wait for Wells to come up and develop, hopefully. So it's bad on the Yankees and bad on Gary Sanchez, bad on coaching as well. So not a great situation.
Nerding Out Sports says, be kind to my Gary and my Gary bobblehead, of course. Still have a Didi bobblehead that's paying every
He's
day
got a lot of
me.
bobbleheads.
Yeah. With that being said, something else to talk about in terms of another Yankee thing. What is your analysis, thoughts on the starting and relief pitching? I personally, and the Yankees can't get out of that because, well, he's got $18 million on his contract next year. Aroldis Chapman, Zach Britton. A lot of people have been calling for Loaizaga as the closer. And also you got some guys in the minor leagues. If you trust Albert Abreu, if they should have re-signed Steven Ridings, in my opinion. A couple other guys as well. So, what are your thoughts on the back end of the rotation, as well as the back end of the bullpen, which at points was a very weak point for the Yankees last year?
100% would love Loaizaga to be our closer. I think it's time to make that move. And we've got a lot of great arms. Got a lot of great young arms that can come in and be really solid in the back end of the bullpen. That you can add Nasty Nestor into that bullpen too. If he's not in the rotation, I don't think he will be in the rotation. I'd like to see Heel get the 5th spot in the rotation. I know he's got some control issues, but when he's locating his pitches, he's actually unhittable. It's unbelievable. He's got incredible stuff. So if we do make a potential trade for Olsen, you expect that we're probably going to give up one of our top starting prospects. I hope it's not Heel. I'd prefer Medina, even though he's awesome as well. But I would prefer to keep Heel of the two and add him to our rotation and have Loaizaga close. And I would move on from Chapman. I think you don't need to have a crazy salary next year. I don't think we need a $290 million salary cap. I think we could trade off Chapman or Britton's contract. We can't trade off Britton's contract because he's hurt, right? But Chapman, you can trade off, and I think you can put Loaizaga in the closer, and I think we'd be better off.
Luca?
Couldn't you, Alex, let me ask you guys something. Couldn't you cut Britton, or at least Britton can demand free agency? Because he's technically, the last year of his contract is going to be 2022, and he's not even playing. So it's kind of fun.
You might as well. I mean,
it's Tommy Kahnle all over again.
Yeah.
That's the unfortunate part. Yeah, but I think he actually supposed to be pitching this year, Tommy Kahnle.
Really? That's right. He's coming back
this year for the Dodgers.
Is Ridings being added to the 40-man? Because I liked what Ridings did last year. Is Ridings being added to the 40-man?
Is actually, from what I know, a minor league free agent. They never re-signed him.
Wow, that's crazy. He did fine for us, man.
Oh
yeah, and they keep guys like Nick Nelson. And,
weird.
Unfortunately, overall, back to my point about the pitching and overall, I can agree with Loaizaga being the closer, but what are you going to do with Chapman? Are you going to? I mean, here's the thing: trade away Chapman. How about say to a team? I know it's kind of ridiculous to say this, but how about trade him to? I'm just going to throw a team out there, the Pirates. How about we give you Chapman, but we'll pay him off the rest of his salary or work something off like that? Because the Pirates can't have that contract. They're a small market team.
Right, but the problem with the Pirates is that they've been rebuilding forever, and they're trying to build a foundation. They're probably
but I was just listing off as a random team. Like the Yankees trading Chapman to a team, and then the Yankees saying, "How about this? You can take on this contract, but you know what? We're actually going to pay for it."
I would trade him to the Tigers. They're an up-and-coming team. They're going to be aggressive in free agency. Obviously, they got a Correa deal possibly looming.
They got Eduardo Rodriguez.
Yeah, they signed Eduardo Rodriguez. They also got Tucker Barnard in a trade. I mean, he was supposed to hit free agency, and they said, "Yeah, we're not going to sit here and just let him go to another team. We're going to trade for him even before he becomes a free agent," which is actually kind of smart. And then they'll probably end up re-signing him, because that would be smart, but they're not screwing around. We'll see what happens. I mean, it's not going to be 2011, 2012 all over again, but, they're definitely aggressive. That's a team I would trade him to. Now, I don't know, what prospects I would take anything at this point for Chapman. I don't care if major league ready, minor league ready, just a bum in the minor leagues. I would take anything because, as Donald said it, you don't need a big salary. That's just old sports philosophy, in my opinion. A lot of these older GMs, that maybe in their 50s, like Cashman, 60s, 70s, doing whatever, I don't think they know how to build a team without putting the cap space and the salary cap up to the hundreds of millions of dollars, unlike the Rays. Now, the Rays obviously fell short, but the Yankees had the second biggest payroll, and they fell short in the wild card. But once again, one player that I would like the Yankees to get, and this is kind of contradictory because I know a lot of people may not like this guy for a number of reasons. I think Joe Kelly should be added to the Yankees bullpen, in my personal opinion. Corey Nabel is another option. Aaron Loop. I think they need a setup guy because Clay Holmes was good. You need another setup guy. Zach Britton, hopefully he's going to be out the door. If Chapman's out the door in that hypothetical situation, so you do need, I guess, one more setup guy. Joey Rodriguez, I think he was a decent re-sign. But from there, you go from, what you have. Herman, Nestor Cortez.
Question is, what are you doing with Chad Green?
I don't think they need Chad Green. And I particularly don't like Chad Green. I've fought a lot of people on social media saying, oh, well, Chad Green was better than Luis Sessa. No, he wasn't. They should have, in my opinion, they should have kept Sessa, but they also said, well, he's not in the long-term plans. It's just stupid, but Clay Holmes, I guess, is the second coming of Sessa.
They basically use Sessa as an add-on for that terrible Justin Wilson contract.
That's what it was. What it was. Yeah.
Because the Reds are not taking. The Reds, apparently they're supposed to have a fire sale, even though they were second, third in the division.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I don't think they're that stupid to say, oh, just have Justin Wilson and the player will be named later. And they said, no, you're adding an extra bullpen arm for us, and then we could take that. But
I agree. I didn't like that Sessa trade at all. Using someone who's so valuable as an add-on to get rid of a terrible contract, it doesn't really speak great to me. But I agree. I would keep Chad Green, but I think we overused him. I think he's basically a fastball pitcher, right?
Exactly.
His secondary stuff isn't great, but if you use him sparingly, if you use him a couple times a week, he's going to be fine. And he'll be absolutely fine. His numbers are always representative, always solid. But if you overuse him, then teams are able to catch up on that fastball, and he gets bombed. So I would use him more in like the sixth inning kind of role. I wouldn't have him as a setup man at all. I like Holmes as a setup man. I would add another one. I agree with that. Joe Kelly's not a bad shout because he's got a little bit of personality. He's got a little bit of fire to him. And I don't think there's enough in that Yankee locker room that has a little bit of edge to them. And that's an argument to, like, for instance, for Correa, because he's got that edge to him. I think the Yankees are too nice. I think they're too nice guys because, their coaching staff is too nice. And everybody's overly coddled. It's kind of nice to have a little guy with a little bit of fire. So maybe Kelly's not a bad shout.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. I think I know the answer already. But what do you think of Michael King? And I know the Yankees used him sparingly last year as that middle relief guy, the guy who can give you innings. But also, what do you think of bullpen days? Because I think they're pretty stupid.
Luca?
I honestly don't like bullpen days. I've never been a fan of it, never will be a fan of it. It's just very ridiculous, to be honest.
And what do you think, Donald?
It's just analytics going mad, man. That's just our friends in the analytics room that get to pre-plan an entire game in order to script it for Aaron Boone. So that's why I don't like it. But that's where baseball's trending right now. Just look at that World Series. Just look at the entire playoffs. It was full of bullpen games. That's just the way that baseball is trending. And as an old school fan, I don't like it. And also, it kind of leaves more room for middle managers like Aaron Boone. You know what I mean? If their game is entirely scripted for them, then they're much more comfortable. Because when Aaron Boone is actually asked to manage, that's when things start going haywire. So he'll certainly prefer bullpen games.
What was I going to say? In terms, you are right in terms of the World Series. Also, you take a look at one of the last few games in the I think it was the National League Championship Series. They had two games, I think, in that whole series in general, or two games in the playoffs, where they had Corey Nabel as the starter for the Dodgers, and they had him as a starter for the Dodgers in the last game, and they lost. So that's what I have to say on that. But also, our third guy on the panel, who once again not here, he is very weary about this. He's been talking about this since probably May, April of last year. There's obviously the work stoppage looming. What do you believe will happen? What do you think of what's going on between the MLB and the MLBPA?
I think a lockout's going to happen, and it could go on for an undisclosed amount of time. There's a lot of stuff to work out. You've got to look at what controllable players are going to get paid, arbitration, and you've got to iron out the years of mistrust between Manfred and the MLBPA. I think members of the union are still going to be unhappy at Manfred for not punishing the Astros. I think that was a big thing. I still think it is to this day. I think a lot of professionals will be upset that nothing was done. And I think that started off the distrust. And then we get into the pandemic year, and then they were fighting over 60 games or 100 games and who's going to get what amount of money. It was ugly all the way around. And so I think it's going to be very similarly ugly. There's a whole thing that we need to discuss about rules, the pace of game. Then we're even talking about salary and arbitration and all this stuff. There's a whole lot to iron out. I think it's going to go into a lockout. That's why we're seeing right now a lot more traction, a lot more deals, a lot more trade rumors that are more advanced at this stage. I mean, hey, the World Series only just finished, and now we're talking about a whole bunch of deals that the Yankees could possibly make before December 1st. The reason for that is because there's going to probably be a lockout in December 1st, and there might not be any movement until like February. I hope it's not going to be that long, but I think it might be for at least a month anyway.
I just remember how slow free agency was going back in, I think it was 2019 when Bryce Harper initially signed with the Phillies. But I did research, and I looked up at this article. Yahoo Sports did this. So here are some changes that MLB might be actually looking at. There's the designated hitter might be coming to the National League.
Yeah.
Postseason field might be expanding. The draft could be reconfigured to disincentivize tanking. The league has a proposed salary floor, which I am very disapproval of. Alex is as well, and lowered competitive balance tax threshold. Also, free agency could end up tied to age instead of years of service. Arbitration could be altered in the case of Fangraph's calculation of WAR, which I think is really stupid. Pitch clocks, bigger bases, and banning the shift, along with automated balls and strikes, and a pre-tagged baseball could be a part of the sport's future. But what I find kind of weird is, the MLB had this big investigation over the spider tack, and now they're pre-tacking the baseball, which I don't understand. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on some of these proposals.
Universal DH, I think we could probably all agree on, surely.
Yeah.
That's just a must. I mean, you only have to think back to Chin-Ming Wong for us.
Oh, yeah.
Who ruined his career running the bases. Great pitcher. There's absolutely no point in this day and age to have that. So universal DH is a must. I agree kind of with a pitch clock. I can't see any reason why not. I keep things moving. I have no problem with that. I definitely agree with banning the shift. I would like that too. And I think there's things to work with there. What were the other suggestions? Sorry, because you were mentioning there.
You got pre-tacked baseball.
That's
you have bigger bases, which they're actually experimenting with in the minor leagues, which I don't quite understand. I think it's to prevent injury, but
I'm not sure
whatever.
about that.
Drafts could be reconfigured to disincentivize tanking to stop.
That I agree. I like that.
I'm curious to see what they do. If it's going to be a draft lottery, I mean, to me, as a sports fan overall, I don't really pay too much attention to, the MLB draft. And it's to me, the MLB draft is not the biggest thing when it comes to developing talent. It's the prospects. It's all about the farm system. So I don't think the MLB draft is a big deal, but it's kind of is when you consider who the Yankees have kind of missed on in this day and age when they pass on guys like Bo Bichette for Dante Bichette. They pass on many other guys, but they draft guys like Phil Hughes and Jabba Chamberlain, and they didn't necessarily come out to be, good players. Let's be honest. feel like he was just fastball straight. As I don't know what to compare it to, but it's all about the prospects and developmental system. You can draft a bad prospect and still have a good developmental system, but
it's all about developmental system. And I'm if you guys read Kevin Kernan's article in Ball 9, where he discussed how Brian Cashman has kind of gotten rid of a lot of old school guys and a lot of teachers in the organization. So that really hurt their developmental aspect, especially when they reach the majors. You're seeing a lot of guys at major league level for the Yankees that are young or declining. A lot of that is due to poor development at the major league level. So I think that speaks to that. That's why, like, the NFL, the NBA draft, you're getting a lock. You know what I mean? You're getting a lock of a guy. You know who you're getting. But MLB, anything can happen because you're not going to see them for about 5 years anyway. Right? So, we've already got Jason Dominguez, who's like been touted for us for years, but we've not seen him yet. It's going to take him another couple of years, even before he even reaches us. And we don't even know what we got yet. So it all comes down to the development rather than anything. You can draft guys that maybe don't have the highest rating at the time, but if you develop them well, then you can come up with something special. It just all comes down to development at major leagues.
Let me ask you this. What are your thoughts on a salary floor? Like, compare this to the NFL and NBA, where they actually have a salary cap, which is obviously not a minimum, but a maximum. What are your thoughts on the salary minimum imposed by the MLB?
That's something that I think there is a discussion for. However, this year, there's a lot more parity. There was a lot more competitive teams than even I was expecting, because I was actually thinking hard about a salary floor, but it was after last year where so many teams were below 500, and there was a lot of tank teams that were just flat out tanking, and that needs to stop. I don't like all these tanking teams. I feel bad, for instance, for the Pittsburgh Pirates, who PNC Park is the most beautiful stadium, I think, and in the majors, or certainly in the top 2 or 3. It's a beautiful stadium, got a loyal fan base, and they got some good prospects, but their ownership do not want to spend. Look at the Oakland A's. They've got unbelievable players. They've got Sean Murphy. They got Chapman. They got Rizzo, and they're looking to do a fire sale. They just got rid of their excellent manager, and that's because they don't want to spend either. So I kind of feel bad for these fans that have organizations that have great talent but do not want to spend. So does a salary floor incentivize them to be competitive? Then sure. If that's a discussion that I think it's a discussion that's worth having. But I was impressed this year. It's a lot more competitive teams than I expected, and I think that's only good for the game.
I personally, I think the MLB is kind of contradicting themselves in terms of the two proposals that go towards a salary floor rather than a salary cap, because the big discussion, and our third guy has said this a lot, and I tend to agree with it, is that so many years ago, MLB had the shot to put in a salary cap, and they never put it in. They never put it in. And it's kind of the thing we've been dealing with, because, it's the same expectation every year unless we see spending big. Oh, the Royals are going to suck this year. Oh, the Pirates are going to suck this year. Oh, the Diamondbacks are going to suck this year. They obviously, as Lucas said, they propose or are proposing, a salary floor and disincentivizing tanking. You're not helping yourself, and that's going to piss off a lot of people, or I should say owners and organizational people, for the small market teams, because they can't spend a lot of money whether they choose to or not. In my personal opinion, they don't want to spend a lot. They can't spend a lot, whatever the situation may be. They're not in a financial position to spend like the Yankees, so a salary cap would help that, but you're putting a salary floor where you only have to spend the minimum of, let's just say, $140 million, $150 million. So they're killing themselves there. Also, something that I agree with, and I know a lot of analytics teams are going to go against this because, well, we all know what the Rays and Blue Jays like to do, and the Yankees as well, as obviously banning the shift. I'm in support of it. But also, as I just mentioned, a lot of teams are going to disagree with that because, it's not just the shift, 4 outfielders. So that's another thing that the MLB is going to have a fight on. And once again, as everybody has the similar conclusion of a lockout. But I just think that the MLB is, and it does not help. It does not help that now you're trying to kill the small market teams even more and even more. But the year before, you cut how many minor league teams across the MLB? Staten Island, for example, a couple other teams. With Charleston River Dogs, a couple of these other teams.
Yeah.
That means so much to communities where they don't have, maybe football. They don't have all these other, but they know. Let's just say the locals, they know that team. Yeah, it's not a major league team, but they know that team. It's a custom thing. But once again, they're just hurting themselves there, and they're trying to really, I would say, in my opinion, as many people would agree with, that they're trying to benefit the bigger side, and the Yankees, the Dodgers, all these other teams. Rob also says these CBA discussions are going to be bad, lengthy lockout looming. Also, Luca, you said something about Buster Olney saying something, or someone who had a source inside those CBA meetings. Also, something about 17 teams competing or something else.
It was Scott Boras who said that 17 out of 30 teams are going to be competing this year. Think about it. 13 teams that are not going to be competing for playoffs or a world championship this year. That speaks to how bad the image of the overall sport is. And I think it's pretty ridiculous. I mean, I'm one who hates tanking, but Alex is going to call me a hypocrite because I wanted the Jets to tank last year for Trevor Lawrence, but that's a whole nother discussion. But still, I just hate tanking overall. I don't see a point in MLB tanking, in my opinion, because you're not going to see these guys for a couple of years, number one. Number two, you also got the international pool. So it's definitely a thing to, worry about. Tanking is definitely a problem, I think, in MLB. But if you're making progress on your rebuild, fine. It's like the Detroit Tigers doing, but still.
The Baltimore Orioles are a great example of that. I mean, I don't even know what their progress is. Would they lose over 100 this year?
They took like a kind of a odd step forward in last year in the bubble. Well, not the bubble year. And I'm talking like an NBA. Excuse me. Overall, they took kind of a step forward in the rebuild in the 60-game season. They had a lot of young guys that look good. Brian Mountcastle, Cedric Mullins is very good player. Very good
killer.
Player. He and Trey Mancini are like the only legit all-stars on that team, but that's not the point. Then I think they kind of took a step back this year, so we'll see.
Yeah. I definitely, obviously, agree with that. Luca, anything more you would like to add on the MLB note, of course?
On the MLB note, let me ask you guys this, because somebody brought it up on Twitter. You think that the Yankees might want to add Verlander to have Cole, for Cole to have
like a
money?
1-2 punch?
Yeah, I guess.
I think that's possible. I think that, yeah. I mean, also, I do want to ask Donald and get his thoughts on the thing in a minute. But I know one of our good friends of the show kind of said that, they would rather Robbie Ray and also Garrett Cole. But being the case that Severino is not totally a guarantee next year in terms of returning to himself, though he did pitch well when he came back.
Tyon's also
I could see that, but Verlander, if he was younger and if he wasn't coming off the injury, I would see that, but it just doesn't make sense. Your thoughts, Donald?
I agree. It still doesn't make sense. Of all the exciting names that we've kind of been linked with, and a lot of progress that I'm quite happy to hear from Brian Cashman, for instance, that he's looking at center field, he's looking at catcher, two positions that I felt the Yankees have needed to look into for a couple of years. I'm glad that he's being honest about that. And then we've got short, we've got first base, all these exciting things. And then this, I just think this is like going backwards. This is classic Brian Cashman. He loves injured starters. That he loves to go and find their workout. And he thinks that he's going to catch lightning in a bottle because we've seen a really good workout. Dude's hurt. Move on, man. There's great young controllable starters that you could trade Torres for, or you could trade some of our minor leaguers for to free up room on the 40-man. Go and get yourself a quality young starter because this is a young man's game.
Definitely. And I'm curious to hear, Donald, your thoughts. I know this is kind of how could I put it? A kind of a past discussion. It doesn't really need to be discussed anymore. But I'm just going to put this out there. Were you in favor of firing Aaron Boone after the season? And this can go with Cashman as well.
10,000,000% Aaron Boone should have been fired. I mean, let's look at it, right? Alex, as you were talking about, look what we're doing right now. We're looking to overspend, and we're looking to add an insane all-star team in order to compensate for the lack of talent that we have at manager. I mean, he barefaced lied to us when he said Aaron Boone would be the best manager on the market. And then the Padres went and got Oakland's manager, who's a hell of a lot better. And, there was a whole bunch of managers that could do a much better job than what Aaron Boone did. Aaron Boone did not do a good job with the locker room. There's big problems in the locker room. Rizzo saved the locker room in many respects, because we heard a lot of, hearing little bits that there were some issues in the locker room, and he didn't motivate them. That is a fact. They were not motivated. And, you just look at the in-game strategies, and then you hear things like, for instance, that the analytics staff didn't even love the things that he did during the season. And considering that our analytics staff runs the whole baseball operations, if they weren't overly impressed with Aaron Boone's management, then why is he here? And 4-year deal? I think that is a troll job, because the Yankees aren't stupid. They know how unbelievably angry the Yankee fans are with Aaron Boone's performance, and it's been that way for 2 years. He should have been moved on last year, and he sure as hell should have been moved on at the end of this year. I mean, you're looking at unbelievable losing streaks that we've been on, underachievement, and we're actually gradually getting worse each year. And the talent hasn't been improving. And we had a hell of a team last year. And he went and acquired Gallo, and he went and acquired Rizzo. And you had Garrett Cole, who was semi-Cy Young for much of the year. And you had Aaron Judge and Stanton having semi-MVP years, certainly on the outside of that discussion, but great years nonetheless. And you look at all that in the big picture, and we barely scraped to the second wild card, because we collapsed. Once we got ourselves in the wild card spot, we collapsed again. Then we had to go and claw ourselves back in and get the second one, and only to get embarrassed in the wild card game against the Red Sox. What kind of message does that send to the fan base that you give them a 3-year deal plus an option? That is a troll job. I'm very upset about it. And then you hear stuff like, "Oh, we need to find the yin to Aaron Boone's yang." What even does that mean? That means that your manager can't motivate anybody, so you have to go and find a coach that could do it for him. It sends a terrible message. I don't like it. If you had to give him a 1 year plus an option in order to coincide with Brian Cashman, that I could understand. Cashman was never going anywhere. I've accepted that. That's fine. But you could have had the manager rolling alongside with Brian Cashman. Give them a prove-it deal. That I could understand. But 3 plus an option with Brian Cashman's, career still up in the air a little bit. He's having to overspend in order to keep his job. And he's having to overspend now to compensate for Aaron Boone's lack of ability. I think it speaks to some major problems in the Yankee organization.
Yeah, I just think
that. I'm sorry, Alex, to interrupt. To mention that Cashman's contract is up actually after this year. Number one, number two, they haven't exactly given him an extension.
Nope.
So it's definitely interesting. We're going to probably talk about it after the season, but we'll see. We'll see.
I mean, it doesn't make any. It also doesn't make any sense though, because obviously they have not signed a Cashman extension yet. How much sense would it make to have a new GM come in here? Hypothetically, it was probably not going to happen.
Exactly.
New GM in here, same manager. It wouldn't make any sense unless that GM fires the manager, and then you have to go looking for another manager again. But and then what they were doing with the coaching staff, obviously they just hired Luis Rojas as the third base coach, which many frown upon, many don't frown upon. But it's you're getting rid of the coaches around him, including Marcus Timms. But what are you doing, with the manager? It's like firing your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator, and the head coach. I mean, it's very hypocritical, and it just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Exactly. The Yankees have done that to Tom. The Giants have done that to Tom Coughlin a number of times when they fired their offensive defensive coordinator and things like that. I mean, it's just kind of, it doesn't make sense to me. You have to just realize that the problem was the manager. You can't use, for instance, Nevin as a scapegoat. I mean, yes, he didn't do a great job at third base, but he was kind of Aaron Boone's bad cop, so to speak. You know, he was the one that was actually happy to talk to guys and be tough with them if required, which Aaron Boone is scared to do. I mean, and Luis Rojas is a very good hire if you're looking for a coach, because he's actually been respected by the Mets throughout their minor league system. He was a good coach. He worked with them well. He's been respected in the organization. But if you're looking for the yin to the yang, he's not that, because he couldn't handle their locker room either. So you're going to have to find a bench coach that is going to hold players to account, because the manager isn't.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. And, you know, I said how many times before this whole third base thing with the wild card game, I would have taken Phil Nevin as a manager, but he legitimately pissed me off with his comment, because, yeah, you're naive. You're not denying that, you are denying that you made a mistake. You didn't admit to it. And it's, what you could have said when you were doing the interview. Oh, well, I made a mistake. Obviously, I didn't send him at the right time, and it was just a mistake. That's on me. But no, he comes out here and said, well, I made the right decision. Oh, no, absolutely not.
No.
So I always thought he had this fire in him. I always thought he had this, I always thought that he had managerial personality. Once again, after that whole thing with the third base thing and AL wild card, I said, okay, we're not. And then to say, oh, well, Phil Nevin was, Aaron Boone's, he influenced some of the bullpen decisions or some of the decisions. I mean, just once again,
there's no accountability to the manager.
No accountability.
No accountability to the manager.
It's like they treat him as the Golden Prince. They treat Aaron Boone as the Golden Prince, and it's actually ridiculous, because what has Aaron Boone exactly accomplished as manager? Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
And unfortunately, and then people, obviously, there's people that like Aaron Boone. Oh, well, Aaron Boone, had 200 wins in the first 2 seasons. Right, but what does that do for this team now, even if he was a manager? Doesn't do anything. So
wins are meaningless when it comes to the postseason. His postseason record is below 500, or it's 500 at the most. He's done a terrible job in the postseason. That's what it matters for the Yankees.
Yeah, and I think Yankees fans should know that the regular season doesn't matter, because we all know the Yankees played 2021 like the regular season doesn't matter.
Exactly, and that's a big problem, man. Like, it's not necessarily. Obviously, Aaron Boone is the face of that, but going into next year, they need to stop with this idea that the regular season games don't matter that much, and they take series off, and they keep planning bullpens series and series ahead, or who are starting pitchers going to be series, and then resting a bunch of guys. I mean, you need to have some consistency. Now, considering we were stuck with Aaron Boone, I have to accept it. I don't like it. But they need to stop with this resting guys thing. You know what I mean? Unless there's a real reason for it, they really shouldn't need to be doing it. And they were, having to give guys a day off prior to the scheduled day off. That was things that really annoyed me. That was a big Yankee thing. They love doing that. That makes no sense to me. So the Yankees were actually at their best during the winning streak when everybody played. There wasn't too many guys that were getting rested, and it was kind of like a set lineup. They all knew their roles, and we were winning games. And then as soon as we won enough games, they were like, oh, that's good. We can go back to what we were doing before. And then we started losing again. So there was it was very frustrating, the whole front office, Brian Cashman, analytics, Aaron Boone nonsense. That needs to stop. Really does.
Yeah, Field of Dreams game was definitely one of the bigger examples of resting people before the scheduled off day. Why is it good before the scheduled off day? I remember we had a content creator on here, and he was who had a rant the night of the Field of Dreams game, especially after what Aaron Boone said. He said, forget what he said. Luca, what did Aaron
It
Boone?
hurt a little bit.
It hurt a little bit, but I'm glad to be here. I mean, I just hate the chronic answers. Aside from the bad managing and that stuff, I hate the chronic answers. Like, I don't know what the situation is for across the league. Like maybe guys like Gabe Kapler, who I don't think personally is a manager, and some of these other guys that are analytics guys and robots. I don't know what answers they give, but they have to give better answers than that. I mean, it's just what message, once again, are you sending to the fan base by having a robot spit out just corporate answers? And it's funny because nobody in the media attacks him. Brian Hoke was one of the few guys that attacked him and said, well, is your team used to losing? And then Aaron Boone finally responds like a human, says, oh, get the hell out of here with that. We're not used to losing.
Exactly. I mean, it was crazy. I think the Field of Dreams game was a microcosm of the Yankee season right there, because we had the dramatic, exciting comeback with led by Stanton and Judge, but you also had the insane mismanagement that was going on. It was a terribly managed game, and then the entire collapse at the end, and then Aaron Boone was like basically trying to blow smoke up our butts, that everything was fine, and that was the story all year with that. And also, did you guys notice when Aaron Boone Aaron Boone's contract was still not renewed? All his media friends at ESPN were like, Buster Olney, John Heyman, were all coming out in support of him, putting out all these tweets. Oh, Aaron Boone has got a 600 winning percentage as a manager, and blah 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 blah. It was crazy. It was absolutely staggering. All these. It was like Brian Cashman's basic media buddies. He basically got in touch with him going, I need you guys to send out some positive Aaron Boone spin in order to give us a soft landing. Because that's what it was. It was in order to pave a soft landing, because they know that their Yankee message forums and the Yankee Twitter handle was getting absolutely blown up with all our fans, 99% of them wanting Aaron Boone fired. So we needed a soft landing. So out came Buster Olney with a lot of nonsense about his 600 winning percentage. That was a lot of nonsense, because there's some really good managers that lost their job, and not one ESPN commentator will start going on about their win percentage or what they meant to the organization. And most best example is Sid Lewis when they fired their manager, who had did a sensational job with them. An excellent winning manager. I would have him as a Yankee manager in a heartbeat. He did a great job. And where were all the tweets in support of him? Oh, it's terrible what's happening to... No, none of that. But it was for Aaron Boone. Why is that? Because he's a media friend. Because he's an ESPN buddy. Nothing to do with his managerial ability. So that's... I'm going to get off my high horse on that. But that really annoyed me during the start of the offseason.
Yeah, and I just don't think they mentioned, Buck Showalter maybe will find his way back in. Oh, maybe Bruce Bochy, will find his way back in. It's all about, as you said, it's all about the paid media buddies, the media friends, and all that. And it's pretty evident that guys, specifically in the media, hated Girardi. They hate tough guys, but someone who's just gonna say just a simple answer. They're gonna write it down, and it's stupid. It's stupid. It's dumb. And Luke, you have any more final thoughts on that one?
Not really. I think we've we've talked about the MLB situation, Yankee situation pretty well. Although some recent news, the Red second baseman Jonathan India, National League Rookie of the Year, AL Rookie of the Year Randy Arozarena, and the Mets hired Billy Epler to be GM.
They've actually hired him.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of that hire? He's not the greatest record for the Angels.
Let's be honest, he's pretty mediocre. I mean, from 2015 to 2020, he couldn't build a team around Mike Trout. Let's be honest. Yeah, he got Ohtani. Yeah, he got Rendon. Yeah, maybe Justin Upton as a
Still
role
not a
player,
winning
but
record.
not much to talk about. It doesn't move the needle at all.
I don't think they even did anything in the Mickey Mouse season. Let me take a look.
I remember when they signed Dylan Bundy.
What was I going to say? Let me take a look.
They love to spend money. They love to spend money. That's all he's really
spend money. With it, and the pitching has been the biggest problem for the last couple of years. It can't get a solid amount of pitching.
Worth a damn.
26 and 34. That's who they went in the Mickey Mouse season. That's
not a good hire by the Mets.
I mean, the Mets, their GM search was slightly comical, to be honest. I think you can put
they can't get anybody.
Kindly. No, they couldn't because they got. I think there's some issues. I love that their excuse was that New York. Give me a break. If the Yankees had a GM search, they would have to beat off guys with a stick in order to get. You know what I mean? Their interest would be through the roof. It's nothing to do in New York. People want to be in New York. It's just because it's the Mets. The Mets have been a terrible organization, terribly run organization. I mean, they had one of their GMs the DUI and and all this.
It's just all the controversy that comes with it because the Mets are the Mets. And what was it?
Exactly.
Zach Scott, and then before that was Jared Porter. And then Mickey Callaway before that. No one wants to deal with that. Nobody wants to deal with the heat of that.
No.
And once again, if it was the Yankees, it was a different story because everybody be, flying in for the job. But it's really unfortunate for Mets fans, but we'll see. Obviously, I was a big proponent against what the Mets were doing in terms of, the Francisco Lindor thing, thumbs down and everything. But great message you send to your fans. We'll see what happens. Quick question. Your thoughts on the Knicks and the Giants this year? Because I know you mentioned those are some of your favorite teams.
Well, yeah. So the Knicks, oh boy, they need to fix their perimeter defense. They got big problems with the perimeter defense. Part of it is as much as we've upgraded offensively with Fournier and Kemba Walker, I'm unsure how Kemba is going to run the offense because when he's run the pick and roll, which is his strength, he's not looking to distribute. His primary thing he wants to do is shoot, right? And it's fine when he shoots at a high percentage, but still he's kind of leaving out everybody else. So you can see Randall kind of pouts a little bit because he's used to last year he was kind of point forward. So he kind of takes possessions off. There's a lot of ISO going on. So then you see Randall doing kind of James Harden stuff where he's doing this the triple step backs and all this kind of nonsense. I mean, listen, there's too much ISO going on in the first unit. If you look to the stat, we're going to be the first unit is minus 76 between the first five, which is the worst defensive rating in NBA history. There's a big problem in that front five in terms of chemistry, in terms of ISO, and then you look at the other side of the coin, and our bench is probably the strongest bench in the entire NBA.
I agree 100%.
They're plus 32 in minutes, which is phenomenal. I think it's second in the NBA for bench unit. You just look at what they do. They play the game the right way. They work hard. They fight. They actually play defense. And you got Obi Toppin, who's so good in transition. You got Derrick Rose, who's so good in transition. He's actually a guy that's a floor general. What I would do is I would actually start Derrick Rose, but you cap his minutes. But I think he should start because at least he's a floor general. And also Thibodeau needs to stop this whole thing he's got against Obi Toppin. He's not just a backup to Julius Randle. He's not just a backup to Julius Randle. He is a talented player on his own. And if Julius Randle's having a stinker like he did against Charlotte, bench him. Keep Obi Toppin out there. What kind of message does that send to Obi Toppin when he did that windmill dunk? He put us up 2 with 4 minutes to go. And then what does he do for that? He benches him for that. What sense does that make?
So I'm actually watching the Knicks game right now. They just tied it at 74 against the Pacers.
Okay.
Their defense has their defense actually been better this game, although the Pacers have missed some open shots, not going to lie. Randall hasn't looked his best. RJ is actually getting his 3-ball back, which I'm really impressed about.
He's the X factor.
He is RJ Barrett is definitely the X factor. Kemba Walker is actually leading the team in points right now. He's about 16 points. See, my thing with Kemba Walker is he's not driving to the rim enough. We all know he can create his own shot. He can space the floor with the 3-ball, but his driving to the rim, his athleticism is what makes him like the all-star point guard that he once was. I'm not expecting him to be 2017 Kemba with the Charlotte Hornets or even Celtics Kemba 2019 where he was an all-star as well. But, I'd like to see him drive to the rim more. He's definitely powerful and an excellent finisher there.
Do you think that speaks to his arthritic knee? Is that why he's?
I could definitely see that the knee is a problem for his athleticism and him driving to the rim.
Because I've seen a couple of examples. Sorry to interrupt. I've seen a couple of examples earlier in a few games where he'd try and drive to the paint, and then his layups would be blocked. I believe Miles Turner did that a bunch of times in the first Indiana matchup. It scares me. Yes, I completely agree because the Knicks really need their point guards to penetrate in the paint and then kick out to open shooters.
Exactly, I agree.
And Kemba's not doing that. Derrick Rose does that, and it really works because you're getting RJ Barrett open. You got Fournier open. What would you do in terms of, like, for instance, Mitch and Noel? And I know that Thibodeau doesn't like closing with Fournier because his defense and his offense has been a little bit sloppy. Would you look at it, maybe put Burks in there just for the defense and maybe have Fournier come off as a 6-man or anything like that? What changes would you have? Because I think some changes need in the first unit.
Oh, definitely. I definitely think that there's some changes to be made, especially through – I mean, the thing that baffles me, how can two players badly impact the defense like this? There has to be some player that's not trying on the defensive end. And I think Julius Randle's regressed defensively. We all knew that Fournier and Kemba Walker were minuses on the defensive end. They're trying their hardest. Fournier is not he's not great on the defensive side of the ball, and he gets confused with rotations a lot. Kemba Walker's trying to defend his man, but he's completely undersized. But it's just kind of odd to see, this team was like top 5 in defensive efficiency last year. Yeah, we obviously had Elfrid Payton and Reggie Bullock. I don't think Payton had too much of an impact, but Bullock was the guy who was going to guard the opponent's best player on the perimeter. But it's just so weird to see how bad this starting lineup is. It really is.
It's all about perimeter defense. I think that's a big thing. But I really like Fournier. I'm going to give him a chance. I think that he can do some things like that the Knicks are not, for instance, taking advantage of. He's really good off the dribble.
Oh, yeah.
He can create off the dribble. So can RJ Barrett. He's a good ball handler. I would not just rely on Kemba Walker as the primary ball handler. I think you can mix and match. I think you can have, like, for instance, Kemba Walker play as an off guard and have maybe Fournier or RJ Barrett as a ball handler just on occasional possessions just to mix it up a little bit because I think the Knicks are getting a little stagnant offensively.
I mean, it's kind of annoying at this point how Julius Randle's bringing up the ball. You have different ball handlers who can bring up Kemba. As you mentioned, Fournier, RJ Barrett. I think he still needs to work on his handle a little bit, but I think it's gotten better overall. But I don't know. I'm not a fan, as you mentioned before, I'm not a fan of these Randle ISOs. I think they just slow and stagnate the offense. There has to be more ball movement within the offense. And as you said, you brought up the point about penetration with Kemba Walker kicking out to open shooters. We know RJ Barrett loves that corner 3.
Yeah.
So I think changes need to be. I think Tibbs has to be a little more creative on the offensive end. We all know he's a defensive coach, but still.
We might benefit from maybe using McBride or Grimes, maybe just for 10 minutes a night. I think their perimeter defense and their ability to spot shoot from 3 would actually help. And McBride is a very good defender.
Oh, definitely.
I'm a huge fan of him in college.
I mean, Quentin Grimes, McBride I was a big fan of coming out of college, so I was a fan of Grimes as well. But Grimes actually played somewhat solid against Cleveland.
Never saw him again.
Kemba Walker was resting.
Yeah.
And his defense, he was just nonstop all over guys. and his jumper is so swift. It's unbelievably just so good to see. It's beautiful.
So yeah, I think I need to add one of those two guys to the rotation because we're struggling perimeter defense. They can give you perimeter defense, so it makes too much sense to do that. But we don't want to like jump off a cliff. For instance, like last year we're 5-8, so this year we're 7-6. We're right in the thick of it. It's a heck of a tight East, but we've got a hell of a good team. I love our team, but I think we may need to add a perimeter defender at the deadline just to shore things up a little bit because you can't operate as it is.
You can't operate in the NBA or any league in general without any defense. Let's be honest. But overall, the defense was probably the most concerning. I just hope this first unit gains chemistry. We all know RJ Mitch and Julius Randle were playing together last year with Fournier. I actually have seen so far in this game, both Fournier and Randle have had a nice one-off game where they've been playing off of each other. Passing the ball to each other, setting up dribble handoffs, setting each other up for good looks. But I'm just hoping this first unit gains some chemistry.
They did that against Boston. That's what they did against Boston.
Oh yeah,
the first game.
That was huge against Boston. We were streaming the game against Boston. We all know we all knew how stressful that game was. That was awesome. Stressful. Ask Alex. I mean, we were just sitting there on our feet as we watched Marcus Smart hit a 3 at the end of regulation. I was like, oh my God, is this actually?
That has to be one of the best opening games in NBA history. It was honestly a crazy game, absolutely crazy, wild, fun game to watch. There's if you're looking at positives, the Knicks have done well against Milwaukee. So obviously they really lost the second game, but they won the first game, which was good. They've beaten Chicago, who are a really good team, beaten up the Celtics. They've beaten up on good teams on the road, too. So they're better on the road than they are at home. That needs to be fixed. But there's a lot to be positive about. They just need to shore up their defense. You can't be the bottom 5 in the NBA defensively.
But luckily, it's only, 13 games into the regular season?
Yeah.
So I don't think we can – I'm not overreacting. We're not overreacting. We're reacting to what we're seeing. But obviously changes can be made all along the way. That's the great thing about being early on in the season.
So you're asking me about the Giants.
Yes.
The Giants are a strange one. They're as close to a top 6 pick as they are to like a 7th seed, because the mess of the NFC. I can't work them out. They're a very strange team. Like offensively, they're a little bit of a question mark. I think obviously we can go into Garrett's play calling. The strangest play calling, and my biggest issue this year has been Joe Judge. I was a big Joe Judge fan last year.
Yeah,
I loved everything that he preached, and I think everything that he preached was translated on the field last year. This year, I get a different vibe. I'm getting a vibe that he has an answer for everything. I don't like that. For instance, his excuse for his terrible use of timeouts and his terrible clock management, which is historically bad. I've in all my years of watching the NFL, I've not seen this worse. Clock management is really, really bad. And he used the headset as an excuse. I think that's terrible. I thought it was a stupid excuse, really. And you should never, ever say that in a press conference, especially midway through the year, and you're saying, oh, we had it all year long. Well, if that is the case, then you got some serious problems, bro, because you had all these games in which you could have came up with an alternative if the headsets were broken, which I don't believe they were. So I didn't like that excuse at all. And also, he's talking about discipline. We're the most ill-disciplined team, one of the most ill-disciplined teams in football. He's a special teams guy, and our special teams is terrible, apart from Gano. And also, they're terribly ill-disciplined in special teams too. Which is something that he needs to take responsibility for also. So that stuff I'm not liking. However, I think he's still a good coach. And I think I'm not going to give up on him. I just think that needs to be worked on. I thought that he was possibly one for the future. This year, I'm not so sure, but we've got a whole second half of the year. Maybe we go on a run. We've also got questions as to Saquon Barkley's fifth-year option. We got questions as to whether Daniel Jones is the guy. There's a lot of questions, and we also need to move on from Gettleman.
Oh,
I
I definitely agree with you in the Gettleman part, and I agree with. I was a big fan of Joe Judge last year, and there's some positives, but there's also some negatives. They actually did have headset issues. Boomer Esiason of WFA and kind of said, yeah, a lot of teams have been. But the thing is, though, you've been having them for so long. A lot of other teams across the NFL have been having them. They figured it out. Giants have not. So the offense, they don't prioritize scoring points. That's the most frustrating part. They leave it up to the defense all the time, and defense is going to get tired. One thing you can say is that this team under Joe Judge the last 2 years has gotten better in the second half. But once again, you have to rely on teams like Philadelphia to lose. You have to rely on teams like Atlanta to lose. I mean, they did against the Cowboys, of course. But you have to rely on all these teams to lose and win. Meanwhile, you could have been there in the first place. And I understand, the first half of the Giants' schedule coming into the season was tough. It was going to be at least, the best you could have been, in my opinion, at the end before the bye was 5-4. They obviously beat the Raiders in a game that I thought they were going to win. They beat the Saints unexpectedly. They should have beat the Falcons. I mean, the Falcons are one of the worst teams in the NFL.
They should have beat the Chiefs. In fact, they basically blew the game against the Chiefs.
Should have beat the Chiefs. They beat themselves out of that one because Joe Judge called all sorts of timeouts. The offense didn't score points against a horrifically bad defense. They could have beat Denver week 1, but also week 2 was tragic. I mean, offsides, game's over, but there's so many coulda, woulda, shouldas in sports. But once again, when you're a bad team, you start questioning that. And once again, listen, could the Giants definitely go on a run? I think they're going to go 8-9. But that's my prediction right now. Go 8-9. I don't have them in the playoffs yet, but I think they're going to go 8-9. I think they'll beat Dallas. They'll beat Philly, which is a game I'm actually going to. They'll be close with the Chargers because I don't think the Chargers are a team that, they're a good team, but they don't know how to win, 10 games yet. I think they'll win maybe 9 because they're still building. They have a new head coach. Some other teams they could beat. They could definitely beat the Bears. They'll beat Washington the second time around without their stud pass rusher. So there are games that could be won. I think, let's see, we got 9 games in the first half. So second half will be 5-3. But once again,
I have them 7-10 because my other podcast, Nerding Out Sports with Rob, we discussed we're kind of Giants pod we just started, and we were kind of discussing that. We kind of came around to 7-10. We're thinking. I will say though, I've been really impressed with their defense. Graham has really fixed it. It was terrible just to start the year. Too much soft zone, but they've kind of figured it out. Now they're a bend but don't break defense. Really impressed with what they did with Mahomes. They should have won the game. It was ill discipline that cost them, like for instance, Eli Penny's taunting call. That was really frustrating. And then there was a bunch of other things like that blew it. So that was disappointing. But listen, that I think you take as a positive, because if you asked me at the start of the year that we should have beaten a team like the Chiefs, who are just phenomenal, they should score 50 points every week with their offense. I think that's a really good sign for the Giants. And they did really well against Vegas. Vegas have got a good offense. Now, we struggle with the run game. We have all year long. But the fact that we gave up, was it like 490 yards or something around that, 430, 490 yards against Las Vegas, but held them to basically just one touchdown was really, really impressive how they've done that. And I liked how they picked up Roche too. I think Roche is a sneaky little pickup there from Gettleman. Credit to him for that.
Yeah, realistically, in the NFL, you can have a bend but don't break defense. This isn't the 1980s anymore where you need, a top 10 defense to compete in the league. No, you need just an average defense. The Giants are average, bend but don't break. But once again, that gets called into factor because the Giants don't have an offense that prioritizes scoring points. They do a lot of the short routes. Obviously, it goes to Garrett's play calling, also to Joe Judge's game plan. And Joe Judge said something early in the year like, "Oh, we're not gonna, something about scoring 7 points every drive or something like that." Like, if that's motivated in the game plan that you don't prioritize scoring points, then don't expect yourself to be competitive. And this is the result. Kansas City, perfect example. Luca, what did Joe Judge say about because I know Donald was talking about the special teams. What did he say about Riley Dixon? And he said he game plans sometimes for Dixon to punt horribly for the returner or something like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. It made no sense
for the returner, but if you punted it out of bounds, I understand, but punted out of bounds at like the 20 to 15. But
that once again proves my point. He's got an answer for everything. This is a dumb answer.
It's really unfortunate. Hope they could turn it around. I really do. I have them at 8 and 9 for the. Well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I don't think they'll fire Judge. I think they'll give him another year because of the firing every coach 2 years after, and we'll see.
What do you think about Saquon and Daniel Jones' status going into, for instance, next year?
Both of them going to stay. I don't know that Daniel Jones is a franchise quarterback. I've given up on Saquon. He's just too injury prone. Daniel Jones is inconsistent, but with the way the Giants are set up right now, they're not going to move on from Daniel Jones next year. They'll have him another year, but they keep putting him in this horrible situation with Jason Garrett as a play caller. But once again, Daniel Jones is inconsistent because he has a game like he did against the Saints. Pretty good defense, pretty damn good defense. Then you go against the Rams and the Chiefs and have a subpar game. Like the Chiefs, he wasn't bad, but also with this team and not scoring as many points, you have so little margin for error that a Daniel Jones interception, oh crap, we could have won the game if he didn't throw the interception, because a lot of other teams in the NFL, also you take a look at Daniel Jones' rookie season, what happens is, he turns the ball over a shit ton of times and they rebound from that. The defense was historically bad, but you rebound from that because the offense scored points. Now, it was 19th in the league, I think, at that time, but, they still scored points more than they did this year. A lot of people go back to Shermer and stuff like that. That offense was built for Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
And
he was perfect for that.
He's still, Jason Garrett, unfortunately, still stuck in 2009.
Jones is 8 touchdowns, 11 turnovers at this stage of the year. I mean, he's got too many turnovers again. The turnover problem is still there. He's made a modicum of progress each year, but it's not really at the rate that you kind of need to be assured that he's your franchise guy. He doesn't, I've only seen like once or twice in his career so far for the Giants that he's put the team on his back. It's only happened a couple of times. He's not a guy that's going to raise you above your level. He's just not that type of guy for me. Like, for instance, in the fourth quarter, when it was a tight game and Eli Manning had the ball to start a drive, I knew he was going to do something special. That was just something that Eli Manning had is his gene. And Daniel Jones doesn't have that gene. Daniel Jones, though, is an average. He's an average quarterback. Okay, so if you have the pieces around him that are healthy and a good system for him, he will be fine within that. But you're just gonna have to accept the turnovers. I just don't think that we're a type of team that can survive. As you said, we can't survive that key turnover. We can't survive that what he did against the Chiefs. There was the terrible interception against the Chiefs because he keeps staring down receivers, and that's something that he's done since his rookie year, and he's not improved on that. So I don't think he's the guy, but also I don't think there's too many options going into next year. I mean, it's not a great quarterback draft unless somebody makes a huge rise in the draft. Like, for instance, maybe I don't know who you thinking, maybe Corral from Ole Miss or something. I don't know who.
I personally like the guy from Pittsburgh, Kenny Pickett. That's my
Pickett looks good. Yeah. I just you need somebody that's going to be like a Joe Burrow in the draft and just
of course
catch everybody by surprise and make a run. That would be great, but I just don't see it happening. I think the Giants are going to win too many games anyway for them to be near the top to get one of the only decent quarterbacks that are going to come out of the draft. And free agency, we don't have any money at all left. So I don't see us making a trade for Russell Wilson. I would love that, but I don't see it happening. So I think it'll be Daniel Jones for one more year, and then we'll have to move on from him. Saquon, I'm completely in agreement with you. It's just the story of it's a real shame. His rookie years, one of the best rookie years in NFL history, incredible talent. It's just the amount of injuries and the terrible offensive line. That offensive line has got him killed on a number of occasions. And that guy's kind of semi-broken. He looks a little bit scared to attack the hole. That's what I noticed pre-new injury. And that's something that you can't really trust. I think that you can get a very solid running back lower in the draft that can do good things, So I think we need to move on from Saquon.
Yeah, shouts to MH in the chat, by the way. This is, of course, Donald Stewart from Pinstripe Chronicles. And one thing I'll say more before I give it off to you for final thoughts, Donald, is, in the NFL, obviously, you brought up Eli Manning, and there's a lot of, obviously, you brought it up. Manning made a lot of receivers better around him. Hakeem Nicks didn't do anything after the Giants' tenure. Mario Manningham didn't do anything after his Giants' tenure.
Odell Beckham,
OBJ, and all these other things. Daniel Jones seems like he needs the perfect situation, and I understand that, but you can't get that in today's NFL. Matt Stafford is a perfect example. He's riding into a perfect situation in LA. They're losing right now, in San Francisco, but you can't put a perfect situation around him all the time. Eli. Towards the end of his career, he wasn't good because Jerry Reese neglected him. But once again, you can't have a perfect. If Josh Allen's not the quarterback he is without Stephon Diggs, he was horrible in completion percentage his first 2 years of his career.
But look at how much teams that needed a quarterback over the last few years and drafted one have improved. Cincinnati, absolutely a solid team now with Joe Burrow. The Buffalo Bills. Now, Allen's one of the best quarterbacks in football. The teams that have drafted high, apart from the Jets, have all turned out to become better teams. Even Cleveland, I don't really love Mayfield, but
no, I don't.
They've improved and they're a very solid team. Teams that have drafted high tend to have improved. I mean, the best example is also the Chargers with Justin Herbert, and the Giants haven't. They're just still very mediocre. And the big problem is, even if he continues to progress slightly year on year and year, right, we're going to have to offer him a new contract. If we're not winning with him in the quarterback window, we're not going to win with a brand new contract that's going to eat into our salary cap. So it's really, unless he blows us away the rest of the year and in the next year, I don't see how we can possibly re-sign him for it to make sense, in my opinion.
Yeah. MH, oh God, no, not Conforto to the Yanks. No, I'll take Starling Marte in center field. I
would love Marte.
Yeah, I'll take Starling Marte over Michael Conforto.
I just want to keep some notes on the Knicks game. The Knicks won 92-84. They actually let Derrick Rose and RJ Barrett close down the stretch. They were taking the final shots.
That's how it should be, I think. So were they was RJ playing at the 2?
I'd say he's playing at the 3 because the closing lineup. It was Rose, it was Quickly, it was RJ, it was Randall, and it was Taj.
It was the good old Taj. He's always trusted vet. That's good. No, I mean, that makes sense, man. As I say, Derrick Rose needs to be the closer, so that's good. And it's good that RJ had a good game too. That's important because he's the X factor. When RJ plays well, the Knicks tend to play well.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. Final thoughts, Donald. Our I was just saying, a 3-man should actually be coming shortly, but just for me, before I let you get your final thoughts, and it was a pleasure having you on. Obviously, guys, if you haven't already, go follow Pinstripe Chronicles. It's Donald Stewart, Pinstripe Chronicles. One more thing I'd like to ask you before you give your final points. What type of accent is that?
Kind of mixture between New York and Scotland.
Nice.
My dad was Scottish, so I've lived in Scotland for a few years on and off, and I'm also from White Plains too. So all my family's from the States, so kind of got a mixture of both. But I'm a White Plains guy at heart.
Of course. Any final thoughts on the Yankees, Knicks, anything?
Well, I think the Knicks are going to get a top 6 seed. I think they'll get an automatic playoff spot. I'm sure of that. It's just going to take a little bit of time chemistry wise. The Yankees, I want a upgraded catcher. First base, the discussion I can go on all night. I love Rizzo. I'm a big Rizzo supporter. I would love him because I think he's great in the locker room and he was clutch and he loves being a Yankee. Did you see with his outfit when he did the marathon for cancer research and he was all Yankeed up, his family all Yankeed up? It's hard to move on from that, man.
Yeah, of course.
You know, when you look at Olsen, for instance, it's a big difference between California and New York. But Rizzo just seems like a New York guy. He just seems very comfortable. He fit in like a glove. So that's not something to underestimate. But, you know, when you look at everything else, Olsen's just the better player. But it's a no-lose situation at first base, which is good. We need to move on from Aaron Hicks. That's a very key thing. Absolutely, move on from him. I can't stand him. Cannot stand him. I love Marte because we need contact, we need batting average, we need speed. Marte can do that. I know he's a little older, but he'd certainly be an upgrade. I think that would be a good shout for me. I'm a little nervous about these Verlander rumors, but that's my thoughts on the Yankees. I think the Yankees are going to have a very strong offseason. They're going to sign a whole bunch of talent in order to make up for Aaron Boone.
Let's hope so. Donald, it was a pleasure having you on.
No, the pleasure was all mine. Thank you so much for having me on. I had such a great time with you guys. And I love your show. You guys keep doing it. You guys keep doing your thing.
Yep. Thank you, Donald, once again. Have a good night, man.
You too, man.
All right, that was fun. Donald Stewart of Pinstripe Chronicles. Sean should be joining us very shortly. I think, Luca, I think we got, if I'm not mistaken, this is Tingus Pingus.
Yes, Caliente.
Yes.
I noticed the 1023, and I'm like, yeah, I think I know who this guy is.
Yeah. Emily says Mets should take on Aaron Hicks. Will give you the A prospect of the week, Tony Shits. You know what? I honestly, even if there was a guy by that name and he actually played like shit, I would actually take that. You know, double-A prospect. You know, I'll take peanuts and Cracker Jack, a hamburger and a hot dog, and marshmallows and a bonfire over Aaron Hicks.
Absolutely, s'mores
for my benefit. Fuck Cashman, for my benefit. Evan Spitzberg obviously has joined. He says Knicks barely squeaked by a bad team.
Let me comment that. I'll be fair. You guys kind of squeaked by them as well, barely. But I'll be honest, their record is not what they say they are. That is a very talented team. They're not going to be like top 4, top 5, but Chris Duarte, Harris, LeVert, DeMontis Sabonis, Miles Turner, Malcolm Brogdon. That's a very good lineup. That's a very good team.
Yeah.
So,
Anthony says Mike White legend.
I honestly felt that the Knicks went back to the roots of tonight of their grit and grind defense, especially down the stretch. And I give credit to Julius Randle for not, taking selfish shots towards the end of the game, letting Derrick Rose and RJ Barrett close it out. Got to give credit to him, man. Good win all around.
While we wait on the other Tingus Pingus, and I just dropped my microphone. You want to talk about some of the notes you have on in terms of the NBA Nets? I know you're talking about you wanted to talk about the Warriors a little bit, and the Knicks obviously a couple nights before.
Yeah, so I wanted to add in the Warriors remain the hottest team in the NBA, 11-2, championship contenders with a healthy Clay. I think they might be. I remember Sean actually said. He actually said before the season, I don't think the Warriors are going to be good. I don't think the Warriors will be as good. He'll come on and deny it, but
he sometimes eats his crow, but sometimes he doesn't.
Yeah.
And makes sense. I heard RJ finished strong.
Oh, I agree. He was second half RJ. He made the most important plays in the second half.
Eli Manning, fourth quarter.
Just hoping for more consistency on that end.
You're talking about the Warriors?
And to continue about the Warriors, 11-2, I think they're like the best team in the NBA right now. Steph Curry's playing at an MVP level. His numbers are down though, but he's got more help on offense. He's for all the fact checkers out there, all statisticians. He is the all-time leading three-point shooter. He's made the most threes of all time. He is the greatest shooter in NBA history. I will go down saying that. The offense ranks third in the NBA at 112 offensive efficiency. The defense ranks the best in the NBA. Constant off-ball movement, screen setting, and unselfishness just make this team elite. Jordan Poole is emerging as a scorer and a shot creator. His points per game has decreased to 17. Andrew Wiggins has stepped up on offense and defense. Draymond Green has continued to be a key cog on offense with his passing and defense with his hands. Gary Payton, who not many fans knew about, is actually became a key role player for the Golden State Warriors. He's actually given fans nostalgia of his dad, who's actually a Hall of Famer. Great defensive player all around.
Enough with Dookie's inconsistent play. We need a sure thing. Does that include Daniel Jones? Because I could see. Also, a question for
you could also be talking about R.J. Barrett.
No, I know. A question for MH before Luke goes on about his Warriors. Well, not his Warriors, but how do you like the Billy Epler hiring? Anyway,
I'm curious to hear your thoughts, MH. But to continue, and James Wiseman and Klay Thompson have yet to return. We got to see if Klay Thompson is at full form. To go over the rest of my NBA notes, the Wizards, the Nets, the Bulls sit atop the Eastern Conference. Not really surprised for Brooklyn. The Bucks are actually kind of struggling right now. The 76ers are good, but they're not top tier. The Bulls, what can I say? All-around good starting lineup. A lot of good meshing there. Billy Donovan doing an excellent job there. Wes Unseld doing an excellent job with the Wizards. Bradley Beal, Kyle Kuzma seems to be revamped and found a new light. What can I say about that team? That's a solid young team in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I know everybody was talking about, I know it's the what was I going to say? I remember Sean brought up one week, I think the Nets defense has been the same as last year. Well, to correct him, he particularly doesn't watch the Nets. I watch a little bit more, and I've done actually the research on the stats. They're actually top 11 in defense. So they're as I explained last week, their defense is really promising. It really is. And
2015 to 2020. So you could kind of, if he recently is that, 2020 he got fired. So I'm sorry, MH, but no looky good for the Mets. My personal opinion.
Anyways, back to my point, and everybody remember we were all questioning if James Harden was, we were questioning his slump. He's came back to form. I honestly think Patty Mills and Carmelo Anthony are in the running for Sixth Man of the Year. There's no doubt about that. Potentially Derrick Rose as well. But the Brooklyn Nets added some key role players, obviously in the offseason, approved of those signings, and they're going to eventually rise to the top. So, and then to continue, Knicks middling around 500. We talked about the Knicks with Donald. I don't think I have too much to say about that. A good team win tonight. Everybody played their role. So that's pretty much that.
Yeah, I definitely do agree with you, and I always give you the Knicks thing. So MHS, is it possible Quentin Grimes is just another Damian Johnson, or is he a potential game changer in 3 years?
I don't think he'll be a star, like a game changer, but I think he's going to be a very competent role player. Maybe he's a fringe all-star for lucky, but he can be good. He can be good.
We had to settle for a Gettleman and not a real stud. Well, I mean, I don't call it settling, because what options were there that actually wanted to come to the Mets, MH? I mean, that's the scary part. That's the scary part about this whole GM search for the Mets. Luca, I know you did something today that some of the viewers on here may not know of. I'm going to give you a second to promote that as well.
So today I started my own college radio show, SFC Radio. I go to St. Francis College in downtown Brooklyn. Downtown Brooklyn. And today I started my show. It's called A Bite of the Apple, Core of New York Sports with Luca. Today I went over the Jets' disastrous loss to the Buffalo Bills. I dived into the Brooklyn Nets. I also dived into the New York Knicks. So
Tell
that
them
was
when
pretty
it
much
is,
that.
what day it is, whatever.
What's that?
Tell them what day it is, when it is, what
It will be on Mondays from 12 to 1.
And where can they find it?
They can find it on the TuneIn Radio app. They can find it on the Radio FX app, and they also could find it on sfcradio.com.
Well, also Lake said that the SFC Radio app, not the app, but the SFC Radio website really hasn't been working. I tried that out today. I'm like, crap. But then I went to SFC. Was it Radio FX? And I had that. With that being said, hi Sean, how you doing? Was our New York team really not attracted just because of the New York market? More like because of what's his face, Zach Scott, Jared Porter, and all those other dudes that are part of that whole monstrosity. So, man, you two really had a weird football weekend. Luca gets crushed.
No, I'm not going to lie. I'm super salty. I have every reason to feel salty.
Man.
Mason Rudolph, I hope he gets chucked in the Lake Erie.
Who?
Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph.
Oh, I also want to bring up something. So, obviously, I was watching Red Zone. We didn't get the fucking game, obviously. And it was a Fox game, but of course, we got
the Steeler game?
Huh?
What, the Steeler game?
We didn't get it. So
yeah, no, but you're saying, was it a Fox game?
It was no, I know it was a Fox game.
Yeah, okay.
So I was Red Zone because, oh my God, you're limited to one Fox game. Stupid. Anyway,
what game did we get anyway? I was at work. I didn't even see.
Vikings Chargers on Fox.
Ew.
This is the second half, and the Chargers lost, unfortunately.
I did see that.
But I want to play this because, believe it or not, with the final seconds in overtime, I don't know if Sean saw the highlights. This man fumbled.
Oh, I heard everything.
Range. And just gonna remind you guys of this.
Imagine the Steelers select Pat Fryermuth and the pick is in for the Steelers.
55th pick. With the 55th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers will select future Hall of Famer by the name of someone.
Davis Mills.
Today, please. I love you, Franco. Tight end, Pat.
It was so laggy. I couldn't even see it.
What, Luca? Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it in good quality.
I don't know what it is. Whenever you play videos, it lags to all hell. But I know what you were playing.
Yeah. Oh man,
I don't hate Fryermuth, but he's one of the main reasons they lost. Him and Deontay. I like Fryermuth. I don't hate him the way I did that day, but again, I'm super salty. I don't care. I get it. It's a tie. We didn't lose, but I'm salty. I'm super
There's
salty.
no reason you should be tied with a 0-8 team.
No, and they should have won the game on multiple occasions. Mason Rudolph, he can't throw to save his life. You had easy. They drove down the field like 3 different times within that final minutes of the fourth and then overtime, and they didn't score. So, again.
I can tell you everybody had the dropsies.
Oh, it was a winnery mix, but that's really not an excuse. So, by the way, for our PA people, it's snowing up there right now as we speak. I was just texted a little bit ago saying it was snowing in Pennsylvania. I don't feel bad.
Well, apparently it's supposed to snow here in a couple of weeks.
I know it's supposed to be like 70 on Thursday, so.
I'll take that.
I'll take it too.
I'll take that.
I'll take that any day.
Hopefully, it does not snow for the Giant game against the Eagles.
Again, it don't matter to me just as long as I don't have to go to work.
I'll be swimming back to friggin' New York.
God, imagine if it's like a significant snow.
Imagine a significant snowstorm where you have to stay in New Jersey for the rest of the day.
Oh, I'm sure that'd bring back some beautiful, fond memories of a couple months ago.
Luca. Except it's not going to be that
Hold
part
on.
of Jersey. MH says Steelers and Yankees. Simply interesting. Yeah, I could definitely agree with that.
Thought I heard knocking.
So obviously Sean briefly talked about his disastrous game. Luca talked about his on SFC Radio today, but please reiterate now that you can actually say curse words on here.
Yeah. So the
You're not FCC. Why do they restrict you? You don't have any
college.
FCC rules, or do you?
They probably do. It's college radio, so I don't know. I didn't swear for it. I'm sure the guy who
I would get fined by the FCC for it, so I don't have a choice.
Yeah. So the Jets fucking suck.
What are you, Hugh Hefner?
I'm cold. I just had.
It's it's late night story time.
Yeah, it's late story time.
Let me get rid of bedtime story.
The New York Jets are a fucking trash bag, fucking disaster. That's my rated R version. Just to go into some things about this shitty game. First of all, let me remark on Rex Ryan ripping Robert Saleh. They're currently having a little war.
I saw that Saleh's basically like, don't compare me to that guy.
That's what Rex Ryan said.
I thought it was Saleh who said that.
No. Rex Ryan went on to say this. He ripped the defensive coaching staff. I completely support that. He said the Jets eventually going to make excuses as to why they're losing and the defense is so bad. And then Rex Ryan, I feel honestly, propped himself up like he accomplished a lot. I'm being serious, though. You gotta.
He's not wrong. I agree with.
I understand.
I'll put up the video right now, and you could hear his attitude. He propped himself up like he was freaking Tom Coughlin, or somebody who actually won something meaningful.
Let's go.
I'm sorry.
Giants.
I agreed with his points, but he's like, "Oh, don't ever compare this guy to me." What the fuck have you won, Rex? Does anybody look past 2010? Has anybody? And everybody's like, "Oh, Rex Ryan was a good coach and all." Yeah, for 2 years. What happened with 2011? We collapsed. 2012, the butt fumble year, we were 6-10. 2013, 8-8. Okay, that was kind of an overachieving year, but anyway. 2014, we were 4-12. And then he's sitting out here ripping Robert Saleh for giving up 45 points to the Bills. You did the same thing how many years ago?
9,000 yards.
You literally did the same thing how many years ago? So I don't want to hear it. 47-27. Sammy Watkins owned your team. I don't want to hear it.
It takes a jet receiver to get 170 yards. 3 years.
Yes.
For those who don't know, that's Mike Francesa he's quoting.
Yes.
That fat bastard.
So I just want to mark on a few points.
Wait, what do you mean what happened? A lot happened. Are you talking about the Steeler game? If so, then I'm very salty about that.
The PGA tournament, Sean.
Well, I mean, I got here late, so he could have been asking where I was. Maybe he was concerned why I was late.
I've stated how many times why you were.
Well, I didn't hear that.
Alex, how dare you? You can always ask for clarification.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, attack me, Jet Boy. Okay, keep going on your little...
Oh, like your team is much better.
So anyway,
we got crushed twice this season, but we didn't allow 175 points in 4 games. But keep going, Luca.
So anyway, let me just make it a point. The Mets hired an associate analyst in baseball analytics. Here's the fun part. Knowledge of baseball is not required.
What?
In their application for hiring a baseball analyst, the Mets distinctly put knowledge of baseball knowledge of baseball is not required. See, this is what happens. I don't know what Sean's doing at this moment. I think he's.
You'll say.
Yeah. I figured as much.
There's crumbs in here.
Sean came back from work. That's why he was a little late. He worked till about 9.
I had to work till 9.
Alex, why are you punching that? That's not your team.
I'm not saying it's my team, but the fact that baseball's got this stupid.
Okay, I can't breathe. There's like crumbs in here. I gotta clean that.
But that's not a joke. That's actually said that in the requirements. I guess they're desperate.
No, they're just idiots.
Hold on. Does that mean? Hold on. Does that mean I could be the next Mets GM? Does that mean Sean could be the next Mets GM?
I said this is an analyst for baseball analytics. I didn't say general manager.
Whatever the fucking case, I could say that I have numbers up my ass that tell me that Billy Epler should be the manager.
General manager, not manager.
I know. Can you stick with me for 2 seconds?
No, get it right. Get your information right.
But Billy Epler, that was to get off my Jets point for a sec. That's a pretty mediocre hiring by the Mets. I mean, for about 5 years, he didn't put a good team around Trout. Yeah, he got Ohtani. Yeah, he got Rendon, but no pitching whatsoever. I'm sure MH will love that. But here is what.
Yo, Alex, I'm gonna send this to you on Twitter, and I want you to share this because this is hilarious.
Oh God.
Here's what. This was on DCR. Not DCR. It's now DPHO in Rothenberg. Let me get to share my screen. You'll be hearing what Rex Ryan had to say on Robert Saleh.
Oh Jesus! As I said, oh Jesus Christ! I eventually am gonna have something to pull up, but okay. Oh wait, hold on. Let me get this.
Defense. Now they're going to use, we never had our safety. So what? Everybody has a million injuries, let alone an above average safety you're missing. I remember playing without 5 corners. It never looked like this. I think we were 5th in the league that year in defense. This guy's supposed to be a defensive guru. I heard everything, and I take it personal on this one. Everything I heard about was, this guy's a lot like myself, but without the bad part. Yeah, well, some of the bad part you need, because this team doesn't play with any damn heart. That's the thing that's disappointing to me. And don't ever compare this guy to me, this Robert Saleh to me, because statistically, one time they were like a top defense. All right, here's one thing they're going to be familiar with: 4 out of 5 years, the 49ers were dead last in their division. So he's going to be dead last again. So he's used to that. So to me, I'm a little pissed off about it when I hear that this guy, his background's a lot like yours. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. This is a horrendous defense. Now they're going to use, we never.
What did you think?
I
did not come off as arrogant.
Oh yeah, no, without a doubt.
I'm not saying he's wrong, but he does come off as arrogant. Like he did something. Like he actually accomplished a lot.
Alex, you're looking at what I just sent.
Oh, hold on.
Can you share it? Because I think people watching are gonna laugh at it.
I have something else that's. Oh Jesus Christ, my lordy!
Oh God, I can't wait to see this one.
This is rated R.
I hate Eagles fans, but at the same time, I love them just because of stuff like this.
You know what I got to pull up? Here. This may not make much sense to what Sean just brought up, but this is something as well. Hold on. Luke is not going to like it, even though I kind of, But that being said.
Oh, I saw that.
It seems like that's still the situation. Oh my God. That never gets old.
So then, I just want to share this one more thing, and I'll dive into my Jets thoughts originally. So this is how self-centered Dan Snyder is.
Oh shit! Oh yeah. What an asshole! What a freaking asshole! Have to make a page about yourself.
Okay, I guess I have to put the crumb-filled bag back on. Do I have a garbage can? There goes. Hold on.
Dan Snyder, how arrogant is he?
I want to live in peace. No one won't let me.
I didn't know Under Armour sponsored SpongeBob SquarePants.
I guess it did.
Oh, now it does. He looks like an alien in that. You were saying about your Jets points, Luca.
Smells.
So I want to get back to Michael K asked Robert Sal about this on TMKS. He said, blah 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 Rex Ryan, and Robert Sal is like, if he's got a problem, I'm right here. Contact me. Well, hold on. Let me find the exact quote. What I kind of said, let me find it. He said, if it's that personal for him, he knows where to find me. I'm not surprised by him. He's always got something to say.
Come at me, bro. That's what it sounds like. Come at me, bro. I'm sorry. It sounds like that. Man.
I mean, see, I want to defend Sal there, but I also don't because he's been a shit coach. Sorry.
He has got nothing to prove. Oh, you should tell Sean. You should tell Sean and everybody in the audience here that argument you were having yesterday with that Jet fan.
Alex, I'll get to that in a sec. But, Sean, I forgot to tell you this like a week ago. I was watching one of Tana's streams for the Knicks, and all that.
Oh, what'd they do tonight? I didn't even get to see. Oh, they actually won. Look at that. I'll put the Knicks hat on to celebrate just because it's sitting right here.
They won 92-84. It was a really low-scoring game.
Surprised. I wore this to work, actually. So
yeah, they went back to their defensive roots. They played good defense all game. But that's what needs to happen.
Championship's back on.
Yes. That needs to happen.
This thing is sweaty.
Somebody said it. I'm going to tell you right now. Told this Alex week before. So, somebody said on Tana's stream about the Knicks, can we tear down the Garden?
Why? Please explain yourself before I go crazy.
I don't get it. What's so bad about the Garden? It's the Mecca. It's the greatest.
Some call it the monster.
You gotta have cats in here. How many times do I say?
Dumbass. There was a cat in here prior sleeping. He decided to wake up.
Welcome to the Boys in the Big Apple podcast.
Yeah, where we can never stay on track with anything.
Yeah, welcome. This is where the entertainment comes in. But Luca, keep going.
But I'm going to go back to my points that I brought up on my own podcast. So everybody feel free to check that out. Mike White throws 4 interceptions against Buffalo. I guess we can end the conversation about Mike White there.
I was right.
I mean,
I'm giant splitter. I was right.
I was arguing with Alex last week, and I said this is eventually going to stop soon. So stop this week. He struggled badly against the Buffalo defense, and looks like Zach Wilson's going to start this week unless something.
A game we might be going
not
to.
ready.
So
that, and it's funny how Jet fans were actually saying this guy was the franchise quarterback, Mike White. And there were some. I'm not kidding. There were some people out there actually saying that and saying trade Zach Wilson. But that's called revisionist history. That's what it's called right there. So, also, I want to give a big fuck you to the Buffalo Bills.
Here we, Sean.
No.
Let him explain.
No.
I want an explanation.
I'm talking. First of all, I'm going to talk about the dirty hits. And no, this is the only thing I'm going to talk about. I'm talking about the dirty hits they put on Mike White. There must have been 4 or 5 times after the whistle they hit him.
I won't even lie. Like, I did watch some. I watched like the first quarter. I think it was like 10-0. I think I did see some dirty hits.
So fuck you, Sean McDermott. Ever since Sean McDermott,
I thought he was about to say "F you, Sean." I was like, "What did I?" I heard Sean. I was like, "Wait a minute."
Ever since Sean McDermott's been head coach, his players have been laying cheap shots on us, and it's really freaking annoying. I get they're an elite team, but still. And Mike, I understand. We went weeks ago. We were talking about don't put yourself in the position and all that shit. Yeah, I get that. But here's my point. Why is Josh Allen in the game up 45-10? It's just my question. I'm not complaining about us being down. First of all, Alex, shut up. Put that hand down. I'm not complaining about us being.
He's like me. You can put the hand up all you want, Alex. Nobody's stopping in the middle of their sentence to let you speak.
But here, I'm not being like, I'm not trying to be. What's the word I'm looking for?
A bitch.
Salty. I'm not trying to be salty, but here's my thing. Why is Josh Allen in the game up 45-10? Why is this team still blitzing? All this different stuff. I'm not saying you can't stop it, but I'm just still questioning it. I'm just questioning it from an opponent standpoint. Yeah, you blew us out. Good. We deserved it. But here's we can stop it. But I'm just questioning that. I'm not getting salty, being a bitch. But it's just really questionable in my opinion.
Yeah, but you were also saying yesterday, and I'm not making this up, when they were throwing downfield to Diggs or Gabriel Davis or whoever it was.
Okay, that didn't make any sense either. I'm sorry, it didn't make any sense. I'm not complaining about it from a Jets standpoint. Oh, why you're putting up points on the board? I'm not complaining from that standpoint. What I'm questioning is, you don't have to do that. I'm talking about from a Bills standpoint. You don't have to do that.
Don't put yourself in the position. Don't. Use that as motivation for the next time you go out there.
Sean, do you understand my point? I'm not trying to...
I understand what you're saying. Like, it's different with baseball because with baseball, it's untimed. You could be up 17-0 and still lose. Right. Football, it's timed. Again,
I'm not complaining because my team lost. I'm not being a bitch, Sean.
I get that part. I'm just saying football. I understand what you're saying. Like I would be irritated too, but I don't know if I'd be as irritated.
Right. But I don't know why Alex is thinking that I'm salty. I'm salty that my team lost by a lot and got their asses whooped. But Alex can be Alex.
Thank you.
I don't know why that's something to compliment about, but anyway.
Because it's me.
So, anyways, to continue on, Jets took a delay of game on 4th and 1, down 10 at the Buffalo 45 for some reason. Robert Saleh's game management, time management continues to suck. I mean, it's got to get better at some point, right? As a rookie head coach, it so far hasn't, but that's just being realistic. Anyway, defense is horrific, inconsistent pass rush. Jeff Ulbrich refused to adjust his coverage on Stephon Diggs. Constantly, it was one-on-one coverage with Stephon Diggs and Brandon Eccles. He just kept getting slaughtered by Stephon Diggs. We all know how good Stephon Diggs is, but they just kept throwing right to Stephon Diggs because they were just picking on the rookie corner, and it's just stupid why they couldn't adjust, in my opinion. My question is, what happened to Jeff Ulbrich's quote after the New England game, where we gave up 54 points on defense? The quote was, "It'll never happen again." Look at the Colts game. Look at the Patriots game. Look at this week's game against Buffalo. We're trash. We're trash.
He says it so lightly. We're trash.
He's trying to sound soothing about pain. Like there's so much pain that he has no more anger left. There's nothing left to get angry about because all I know is pain.
This is per the record books. The Jets are the first team since the 1966 Giants to surrender 45 points or more in 3 times in a 4-game stretch. I mean, that's just pure sheer incompetence. And then when will the Jets catch? And here's my little tangent. When will the Jets actually catch up to the rest of the NFL? You look at all these teams that go from small rebuilds to eventually becoming contenders. We saw what the Patriots did last year. They lost Brady. They signed Cam Newton for a year. And they used that year to retool. 7-9 record. Now, they might even be a playoff contender with a rookie quarterback.
Ew. Booger McFarland said when he stares at Aaron Donald, it makes him drool.
God.
Why does this man still have a job? He draws dongs on TV. Now oh my God.
He should be just fired for stating the obvious all the time. Anyway, back to my point. You look at all these teams that have done quick rebuilds like this in the snap of a finger. The Chargers, they lost Phillip Rivers after 2019. They went to Justin Herbert, and now they look like a competitive team, despite them losing to the Vikings. Patriots, 6-4. Drafted a quarterback this year. Have a competent defense. Have a solid receiving core. Have a solid offensive line. Why can't the Jets be that way? Honestly. Even the Bills, rebuilt it quick. You could
Because
name.
Christopher Johnson's a homer.
Okay, that I don't think I agree with that. I don't know if I agree. That tweet, that comment was so out of context, and it doesn't make any sense. But anyways, not the point. When is this team gonna actually start rebuilding like the rest of the NFL does, where you can just there's no more 5-year plans. The Giants could have been competitive this year, but they aren't. But it's just to the overall point as the San Francisco 49ers are smacking the Rams.
Wait, what's the score?
It's about to be 31-7.
I hear OBJ's already crying on the sideline.
First
Jalen Ramsey was screaming at his defensive coordinator.
Oh, sounds like things are going real well in LA.
I really thought that Matt Stafford was an MVP candidate, but he's having too much of these.
As Sean likes to call it, the OBJ effect.
It might be happening. But Cleveland, it looks like the OBJ effect is going to last in Cleveland for a little bit.
They got their ass blown out.
By the Patriots.
Again,
Evan says, do you think Salah should be fired if you guys only get 3 wins?
No.
Too soon. It's his first year.
It is his first year. Again, but one thing about Rex, he would fire up a team. And this team doesn't look fired up. Robert Saleh, to me, could become the next Aaron Boone, where he wants to be everybody's friend. I'm sorry, that it just seems like. Because he actually said, you shouldn't be yelling at a guy who's playing a kid's game for a king's ransom. They should be the ones motivating themselves. I'm sorry, I don't agree with that statement. And then these people are going to be out here like, oh, it's not in his DNA. You got to change things up, dude. If they're not, they're not hearing you. I'm sorry, but the only competent coach on the staff is Michael Floor, who's actually done a nice job over the past 3 weeks. But anyway,
I would just like to add before Luca goes on that all three of
hold
our
on. Stop right there. Stop right there. Steve from Blues Clues has made his first TikTok ever.
Bye, Luca. Bye. Bye.
You can get rid of that cat too. Get rid of that cat too, as Sean is munching.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, I'm hungry.
I haven't eaten since like 4 o'clock. I had to be like an old man and eat dinner at 4.
Well, shouldn't it be nap time soon?
No, I'm not gonna be waking up for 12 hours. So.
Well, I mean it's always good. We're waiting for Dingus to come back. What I was going to say before Luca brutally interrupted me with Blues Clues is that all three of our teams, despite our records, whether it's good or bad, all three of our teams have not just adjusted to the modern NFL. Sorry, not sorry.
Nope, I haven't.
And Luca grabs a bite. So you want to provide us with something else other than TikTok facts?
I pretty much wrapped up my point on the Jets.
What about that one fan?
Oh, let's pull this up, shall we? Luckily, it's still in my notifications.
Oh.
Some people just are too much of homers, honestly. I'm serious. They make up these dumbass excuses. So somebody...
Oh, wait a minute. Look, finish your Jets thing, because I kind of want to switch to a topic for a minute. Finish your Jet thing, and then I'll get it, just because I just saw a post that I want to talk about.
So... Connor Hughes, he works for The Athletic, beat reporter for the Jets. He says, this isn't a coaching issue on defense. This is a talent issue. Jets don't have anybody beyond their D-line. Not true. They have C.J. Mosley, Michael Carter, and Bryce Hall. But anyway, Jeff Van goes and says, what happens when 6 starters and 4 veterans are out for the year? I said, oh, please. The best way you turn things around is not making excuses and not justifying losing. Next man up. Somebody says, is he wrong, though? I'm like, no, he's not wrong, but let's stop the excuse making. Somebody says, this is the best part. It's literally not an excuse. That is literally part of the reason the defense sucks. That's like taking Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, and Von Miller off the Rams defense and expecting them to look the same.
as everybody takes a chew break. I see I'm the only one here, but no, that's a terrible excuse. I don't think the Giants. I don't think if there's a Giants homer out there, they haven't made that type of excuse yet. That's
No,
that's
I'm sure there has. Give it time at least.
I said to my knowledge. I didn't say there wasn't.
No, you'll find. No, give it time. You'll find one.
Okay, not my point, but go ahead, Luca. You were continuing the argument with the brain dead idiot.
And then I said, I'm sorry. Did you just compare the top players of the Rams defense to the goddamn Jets? This person says, I'm sorry. Are you just ignorant and ignoring the point of my comment? If you can't see my point, and I assumed I'm comparing the Jets defense to the Rams, you're absolutely clueless about football, and you should stop tweeting. I go on to say, let me reiterate my point again. Regardless of your comparison, there are 31 other NFL teams that go through injuries on the defensive side of the ball. What makes the Jets so special? Look at the Ravens. I know we have lots of injuries, but this team is mentally soft. Somebody says, it's not the next man up when your roster sucks.
Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? Was it the Giants' fault that the Jets roster sucks?
There's not enough communism in football, and everybody needs to be equal. Final record for everybody has to be 8-1. It needs to be equal.
Somebody said, and then he's like, we have no talent beyond our starters when it comes to this team. So when we say that our starters are out and it's part of the reason, that's not an excuse. Our roster does not compare to the 31 other teams.
Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? What, Luca?
I'm sorry. Stafford's not played well tonight, but his receivers are just dropping passes like nobody's business. And freaking his receiver's been terrible tonight.
Well,
but I'm just so sick of the excuse making. I really am. Makes no sense. Like, oh, what?
Anything else on the Jets?
It's pretty much that. It's just so annoying with these goddamn excuses. It really is. I mean, freaking Sean, his team tied the freaking Detroit Lions out of all teams. He's not making excuses for.
No, I'm just really salty.
He's not saying, "Oh, T.J. Watt's going to be out for a couple weeks now." Ben Roethlisberger.
Minka's got COVID. I want to cry.
COVID. He's not making excuses. He's saying this team should play regardless better. I mean,
I'm gonna go walk off the face of the earth real quick.
Isn't
this you want to join?
I mean, isn't this how you build up a team culture? You're saying next man up. It is. I really think it is. Mentally soft team all around, let me tell you.
The New York Yankees, except the New York Jets. Oh, man.
Hang on. If that's it, I got a topic I want to get into. I just want to pull up the entire quote.
You can talk about Carlos Correa?
Yeah. I just seen another post about it. I'm like, you know what? Since I'm here, since I don't have to go to class tomorrow, might as well.
Yeah.
Carlos Correa. Alex, do you want me to see if I can find the full quote, or you want me to just summarize it? Just because
I personally don't care.
Basically, Carlos Correa. I'll just give a summarized version because I really don't feel like going through Google to find it. Carlos Correa says Derek Jeter was not worthy of his Gold Gloves, and that Derek Jeter was a cheater.
I didn't hear the cheater part. I heard that he wouldn't have been a Gold Glover if it was for defensive runs saved or some shit like that.
All right, I'll pull it up just to.
Like, I'm in a middle standpoint between getting Correa and not getting Correa, but
I don't want him.
You're just ruining your fucking fan base if that's what you're gonna say. And I said this on Twitter. A lot of people actually liked my message.
Oh, here's proof that he actually said it, because I know there was some doubt on whether or not he said it.
I know. But with that being said, I said this on Twitter because somebody said, I don't know when it became cool for Yankee fans to dump on Jeter all the time, but it's fucking weird. Here's what I said. I mean, most of them never watched Jeter in his prime, me included. So there's no loyalty there, and I'm not defending that, of course. I mean, And then somebody else brought up that A-Rod in 2001 said that, Jeter's not the leader of the team. It's Paul O'Neill. and
People
Bernie
said that if, despite the cheating scandal, people have said if we could forgive A-Rod and let him come to New York, then we should be able to do the same for Correa. I don't buy that.
A-Rod did not cheat himself into a World Series.
No, he did it for his own personal use.
Exactly. So let's
not that that's a good thing. We're not defending.
No, we're not defending it. Let's not make something into something else. By the way, Sean, the Yankees have a deal on the table for Justin Verlander
and Freddie. Well, no, they haven't made a deal, but they spoke.
In my opinion, that's a smokescreen because they're trying to. Freeman's trying to get more money out of Atlanta.
But wouldn't it be nice if we could have Freddie Freeman? He's a likable guy and a first baseman
and a leader.
That would be nice, but I don't think it's happening.
Honestly, I don't think Freddie Freeman's happening. To me, he's one of those players you can't hate.
No, you can't hate him. If you hate him, you're probably a dumbass Mets fan or Philadelphian. One of the two.
Yeah. So real quickly, I don't know, Sean, if you saw this before we jump back in the NFL. Luca, talk about some of the things that we talked about with Donald about the work stoppage. That Sean loves the work stoppage.
Oh, I can't wait.
So basically, Donald said it was going to happen. Here's some things that MLB is looking to implement when it came to the work, to what they want to happen. Changes to the game specifically. Draft could be reconfigured to disincentivize tanking.
What do you mean? So kind of like a draft lottery or something?
I'm guessing they change up something like that.
But again, MLB is not hitting the core problem. Why are teams tanking? It's because they don't have a choice. As much as we all despise tanking, what are you supposed to do when your payroll isn't even a quarter of what the Yankees and Dodgers payrolls are?
I said it when Donald was on. I said they're just shooting. They're literally contradictory because they're talking about a salary floor. Meanwhile, these small market teams can't get to that. And then you're talking about disincentivizing tanking. Like, what problem are you solving?
You literally
not solving anything.
If the Pirates if the Pirates get one bad contract, they're finished. They can't pay anybody else.
No, the only pro that I see to something like that, like the salary floor. The only reason I bring this up is because Luca just said the Pirates. Let's be honest, the Pirates don't care about winning. It's blatantly obvious. They haven't tried to win for years. Their owner's content with being cheap. That's just a fact. So I guess if there was to be a pro, I guess that, but again, it just doesn't make much sense to me.
I just want to say for the record, OBJ has played 13 snaps tonight, 2 receptions, 18 yards.
Hope OBJ's happy. Maybe he'll go back to the Giants.
Anyways,
a lot of people would like that.
I know. I remember seeing it.
Anyways, the postseason field might actually expand.
I told you I'd be okay with 6 per league, but that's it.
He's also talking about. Weren't you talking about games too?
Well, like a longer regular season?
No. Like a longer series set, like a longer wild card, a longer division.
So like a 3-game wild card and a 7-game division series? I'm assuming that's where we'd be heading with that.
Hi, Luca. How are you?
I thought you were talking to Sean.
No, I was talking to you. You brought up.
I'm talking to everybody.
You have the article.
I could look closer into it, but anyways, DH.
That'd be my guess. But again, the postseason's long enough. The season's long enough, so DH. I kind of think it's fine the way it is.
DH could be coming for the National League. I think we can all agree on that.
I think that's something we can all get behind.
Banning the shift could be possible.
Now that's
that's not physically possible though. You can't ban the shift. You can limit it.
You can limit the shift, but also the analytics bugs like the Rays are going to say, "Why we can't have our 4 outfielders?"
No, well, and you got the clowns like, "Oh, just learn to hit against the shift." Like,
what if they figure that out and you keep shifting? It's going to be defeating the purpose.
Again, shifts like double play defense, playing the outfielders deep, infield in. That's acceptable. But when you have 4 outfielders, like 6 infielders, that's too
to the
far.
left side with 3 infielders.
Yeah, exactly. That's much. So there's no such thing as banning the shift, but you could certainly modify it. I don't think you can physically ban a shift. That would just be wrong. I don't think I could truly get behind banning it completely.
To continue, a lowered competitive balance tax threshold.
What is it?
Salary threshold?
Might be. A lower balance tax. I'm not sure that.
I don't know what the I don't know how
that term is honestly too complicated for me. But anyway, free agency.
Figure it out.
If we haven't talked about this already, free agency could be, what was I going to say? Could be tied to age instead of years of service. Arbitration could be altered to MLB's could replace arbitration with Fangraph's calculation of WAR.
That doesn't make any friggin' sense. So what? If someone has a 4.2 WAR, yeah, you're getting $4.2 million.
Not directly upon that. I'm sure they have some sort of system where they multiply by some.
But it's still stupid regardless.
I agree with you 100%.
Doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. To continue.
As I said, Sean's going to throw an MLB party when the MLB.
No, I'm going to sit outside. You know what we'll do? I'm honestly serious when I say this. MLB has a lockout. We got to go to Yankee Stadium and just sit outside and just think, damn. And then sit there and cry and then leave.
What would have been?
What should have been?
Anyways,
I'll do it. I don't care. I mean, trip to the Bronx is a trip to the Bronx. We'll go to Arthur Avenue while we're at it.
Anyways, to continue, pitch clocks and bigger bases could also be a part of the future.
Bigger bases. That's stupid. You know what's funny about all this pace of play stuff is you watch a game from 1985, for example. The average game time was 2.5 hours. So maybe try to realize that the current day game is the problem and this pitch clock crap and all that stuff is not helping.
Maybe it's just the quality of play. That
too. I just think it was just the fact that people just went out there and played. You didn't have all these analytical stuff that had to interfere with the game. They just played the damn game. Then again, too, they really, pitchers would throw 172 pitches and not give a damn, pitch 3 days later.
Yeah, but the pitchers today are also wusses in cases.
Yeah, no, they can't even pitch 5 innings anymore.
My arm hurts. Shut up.
But anyway, to continue, the GM meetings are actually over.
I know.
If I'm not mistaken, there should have been a meeting today between the MLB and the MLBPA.
Really?
I think you're right, actually. Today's the 15th?
Today's the 15th.
You might be right, actually. I don't remember. I'll take a look later.
Take a look now, but Luca, keep going.
Randy Arozarena and Jonathan India both win Rookie of the Year.
Arozarena has the judge effect.
Oh, by the way, Judge, what was he, a Silver Slugger?
Yeah.
Yeah, congrats. Joey Gallo, Gold Glove, congrats, but you still suck on offense, so I don't care.
And Luis Rojas is the third base coach for the Yankees now.
Yep. Boone and Rojas, that's an amazing duo.
I like it in the terms of baseball knowledge.
Okay.
I just hope he doesn't.
I got a quote that does not make any sense. MLB and MLBPA, your fans will struggle financially this holiday season if you guys have a work stoppage. What? What? That doesn't make sense.
Bye, Alex. Kick yourself off the stream, please.
Yep. Okay.
Bye.
That was just dumb.
Actually, wouldn't that be saving people money?
Yeah, so you don't have to buy tickets. Buy season tickets. You don't have to buy that.
I'm back.
I want you to look. Is that an article or is that a head or is that a tweet?
No. Somebody just tweeted it.
Fucking dumb.
Oh, Alex, I don't know. Did you guys get a chance to watch the Fall Stars game on Saturday?
I watched a tad bit of it. I was flipping back between that and the Notre Dame game.
How did Austin Wells do?
Take a look at your mind.
I didn't get a chance to watch it. I got home. What time did I get home on Saturday?
You got home when you got home.
I got home like 9:00, so by that time it was just about over.
So also another question. How about Cam Newton back in Carolina?
I know a guy at work who's a Panthers fan. He's super hyped about it.
They might actually turn around.
That might actually, yeah. I mean, if Sunday was any indication, are the Panthers about to see a resurgence?
I mean, honestly, even though he's been a clown at moments, I'm happy for Cam. I'm happy
Yeah.
for him. He did a total 360, the Panthers.
That
did.
just kind of proves that New England is doing something wrong because of how badly he played in New England.
I mean, there's that, but also, like, I don't know if it just feels like Carolina, does the stupidest things and then realizes in the moment that they were the stupid ones. Oh, let's get Teddy Bridgewater for 1 year. Oh, he has a semi-good season. Let's trade him off. Oh, let's get Sam Darnold. Let's get him. Gets injured. Oh, let's start PJ Walker instead of friggin' what's his face? Cam Newton. What was he to say? 22 for 29, 167 yards for PJ Walker. Though they did heavily rely on the running game with Christian McCaffrey. But
Austin Wells struck out once, and there's only a bat.
And what about did you see Dunham made a really nice catch?
Yeah.
In the outfield, Elijah Dunham. That kid went off this fall league. We also had a passing today.
Yeah, Julio
Lugo.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. I was actually one of my friends. He's from New Jersey, lives in PA now. He's been to the Dominican Republic plenty of times. He actually said he got to watch him play a lot in the Dominican Winter League, which is actually currently going on right now. And he said that he used to bat like 400 all the time. He said he was a blast to watch. So, rest in peace. I know also he did tell me that his dad has been going to see a lot of Albert Pujols, and he said Pujols looks really bad right now in their Winter League. That's not a good sign.
No, it's not. I
like Pujols, but I think it's time.
Yeah, I think he needs
Anyway.
it. Also, somebody's giving Robbie Anderson finally some attention.
Anyway, back to the point. Also, Ben Simmons was fined by the NBA for not going with the 76ers on their 6-game road trip.
Oh, well.
Shucks to shuck.
So, that's pretty much that. Are we going to jump into like NFL?
Well, I mean, yeah, we're talking about NFL right now. So even though the game is going on, what are the thoughts on OBJ signing with the Rams?
Clearly, he's not very happy about it right now. So
doesn't seem really has much of an impact. Let's be honest.
Well, I mean, it's his first game, but like,
LA's from what I haven't seen a single thing, but it doesn't sound like they're doing too well.
No, Matt Stafford's thrown 2 interceptions. One of them went to the house. So both Jimmy Ward picked off both. So.
Damn. Luca, what do you think about the Steelers signing James Morgan to our practice squad?
Oh, I didn't even have any idea.
Future quarterback. Whoa!
Bro, Alex, I hope you're right. I mean, I kept saying last year the NFL screwed him over. He could have been the next Pat Mahomes, but no preseason.
Oh,
now's his time.
Now. He wants it to happen because he wanted to be right about Mike White, and then he was.
I was for a week.
Seconds.
Actually, no, I was right about it for 2 weeks because
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
That's 2 weeks. I was right though. That's all that matters.
Yeah,
it's whatever. Honestly, but...
fuck team success. Sean was right. Yeah. So, just as a reminder for everybody, next week we'll be live for the Giants Buccaneers game, and then we'll be on.
I will be on the play-by-play.
Yeah, and I'll be screaming at my own team. The one time I needed the Bucks to win, they decided to lose like that.
Football is at such an odd state right
think
now
they're
that I don't. The NFL is drunk right now.
I agree.
I
We
don't
need to attend the
understand
8A
football. It's pissing me off. Like, can we
Tom
have
Brady 2 interceptions.
the NFL is pissing me off right now. They need to put down the booze. They need to put down Mr. Booze. By the way, how about Warren Sapp today? Who's number 97 of the Pittsburgh Steelers? Are we for real? Are we serious, Warren? You don't know. You don't know. Go like Cam Hayward just responds like, "All right, bet."
Cam Hayward's not destined to have a good game. Cam
Hayward about to get 4 sacks on Sunday.
Some idiot put on Twitter because they were talking about Tom Brady losing to backup quarterbacks. Oh, why is Tom Brady lose to backup quarterbacks like Nick Foles, Taylor Heineke, and Eli Manning? I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
You know what I've seen yesterday, and I know you guys will back me up on this because of how much you hate Philly. There's Eagles fans going out there saying that they run the state now because of yesterday's game. Apparently, the Eagles run PA now. Did y'all forget what we did to you last year? And this year, technically, if you want to make it technical. But y'all are like, what, 3-5, 2-6? Y'all ain't run nothing. Literally is one bad game.
Did you see? I don't know if you guys saw. I mean, I know Luca definitely saw, but I don't know if Sean saw the tackling effort by Teddy Bridgewater on the interception.
Oh, I saw that.
Fumble. Like, I understand people are coming out and defending him. Like, oh,
he made a business decision.
You could have pushed him. You could have pushed him. You would have went down.
Could have at least tried.
Let me take a look.
I can't believe that team is 5-5.
Vic Fangio's gonna get his ass fired.
It's because they played teams like the Giants and Jets.
Alex, come on, you should have beat them.
Oh, and you beat the Titans, and you should beat them. You should beat the Broncos. And then Luca was bringing up to me the other day because I was talking about how trash the AFC was, and Luca's like, "Well, the Titans are good." I'm thinking to myself, they lost to the Jets. I mean,
that was early on in the season, dummy.
Yeah.
No, you said no.
He was wrong all along.
You notice they've done better since Julio's been out.
I guess that's a possible theory.
Yeah, that's a theory that we can.
You know what's crazy? Alex was not only wrong about the Titans, he was wrong about the Cardinals.
The Raiders,
I think that we were all wrong about Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona. Then again, they also. Well, I mean, it's one game, and they were with Hopkins and Murray.
Did Kyler play? Murray?
No, okay. It was Chris Streveler and
Cole
McCoy. I kind of figured. Again, I didn't see any football yesterday, but I kind of figured he was out when I looked at the scores.
Yeah. So got a question. Obviously,
got an answer.
Yeah. Talk about this is a little segment here. Talk about your team. What basically a summary of the season. How can they improve and your final record prediction for them? I'll start with Luca.
Oh crap! I gotta pull up this.
All right. Yeah. So the season, I'm honestly disappointed. I understand we're a rebuilding team. I understand we have no expectations whatsoever, but this has been nothing short of a disaster. Stand at 2-7, 2-6, 2-7 right now. It's honestly depressing. Yeah, 2-7, bottom of the AFC East. To me, I don't care about so much wins and losses. I just want to see progress, and there really hasn't been any with this team. To me, to salvage the season, I want to see Zach Wilson show me something in the final 8 games. That's all I want. I want to see growth among the young corners and the young DBs, young guys, Elijah Moore, Denzel, whoever. I just want to see young growth and development, and I want to see better clock management. I want to see more accountability, no excuses, stuff like that. I think this team will finish off at around 6-10.
Wow.
They have a kind of a cupcake schedule coming up ahead.
I think you're a cupcake.
They've got Miami next week, Texans the week after, the Saints, the Eagles, Bucks is out of the question. Then you also got Jacksonville.
Yeah, the Jets will beat Tampa Bay, no problem. You know what's crazy is imagine if they did.
Oh boy.
Jets fans would be partying like Knicks fans.
Jets fans beating the Jets beating Tom Brady one final time.
Oh my God, there'd be a party in all over New York. Even Giants fans would participate.
Watch yourself, Sean.
I'm just saying.
So, Luca, you gave your description on the season?
Yeah.
All right,
Wait,
Sean.
how can they go 6-10 if there's 17 games?
Fuck, 6-11.
Someone's still in 2020 where they're still tanking.
It's whatever.
Sean?
Okay, I guess I have to go. All right. It's been an up and down season, really. It started out horrible. We all gave up. All of our Steelers fans did. We started 1-3. Then we won 4 in a row. And then we tied. That's life as a Steelers fan. I don't understand it. This team has shown a lot of resilience. They've shut a lot of people up. Big Ben, I don't think he's getting enough credit for how well he has played this year, aside from the first couple of weeks, because he's the only quarterback, not including this past week because he was out. He hasn't thrown an interception in those last 5 games, I want to say, or something like that. Somewhere around that, I don't remember. I don't think Ben's getting enough credit for what he's done. TJ Watt, he's earned every single cent. Boswell is still the GOAT. So they're 5-3-1. Okay. You know what, Alex? I have the schedule pulled out. Predicting their final record is going to be tough, and I'd like to discuss it because it is such a very difficult schedule.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't mind, unless
I'll pull
you want me, just for time constraint. I already have it pulled out.
All right.
This Sunday we have the Chargers. Without TJ Watt, most likely anyway. Ben is still uncertain. Minka, he's now out of the question. If we were healthy, I would think we would win. But without our 2 best defenders, I don't know if I see a win this weekend. You know what? What's crazy is at our worst, we've still been able to beat the Chargers. We did it with Mike Vick. We did it with the Duck. I'm not feeling it this weekend. I'm not entirely hopeful, but they could prove me wrong. I hope they do. I know it's going to be a home game this weekend out in LA. I can't wait for the atmosphere. So that'll drop us to 5-4-1. Then we go to Cincinnati. Redemption game. And I think we get our redemption in Cincinnati. I don't think they sweep us.
Imagine if they do.
If they do, I will cry and walk off.
They're a fake team. They're a fake team. I don't think they're sweeping you guys.
No, there's
no real team in the AFC. Sorry.
There's no real team in football right now. Let's be
honest. By the way,
honest.
sponsored by Rice Krispie Treats.
Okay. Why'd you take it off?
No, because that was the ad.
Oh, I didn't even see that. So I think we get our redemption. We go to Cincinnati. That'll move us to 6-4-1. My birthday game. Wow, my birthday is 3 weeks from Sunday. What the hell? I didn't even realize that. What the hell? Oh, my God. I'll be 19 when we face the Ravens. That's going to be a good one. If we're fully healthy, I can't wait for this matchup. I agree with Alex's pick here. I think we'll win this one if we're fully healthy. Then we got the Titans. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I didn't even see that. The Vikings. Short week, trap game at Minnesota.
I might
on a
change
Thursday
this
night.
depending on how they progress.
I'm not even going to lie. I picked the Vikings to win earlier in the season, but with how bad Minnesota
They
has
just
been
beat the
playing.
Chargers, though. So
This season sucks. I hate it. I can't predict nothing. I got 0 points in our game this week. I'm pissed about it.
That's unfortunate.
I'll still say Pittsburgh only because of Minnesota self-destructing. I don't think Pittsburgh has any part in a victory. It'll be all Minnesota self-destruction. That'll put us at 7-4-1. At Kansas City. Early season Kansas City, I would say a win, but Kansas City's starting to roll again, so I'll go with the Chiefs, 7-5-1. The Browns. The Brownies. The way Cleveland played this weekend, I got a Pittsburgh win.
I don't think they're sweeping.
I think they will because
it really depends. It depends on, I think, Cleveland's fight. It depends if Cleveland's playing for a playoff spot or if they locked it in, and if they're really motivated to go into Pittsburgh and try to win. Because that's
I agree with Luka.
Again, we saw Cleveland's not a really good team. They're just a 500 team.
Yeah, they're average.
They're average. So I could see
you said about the Bengals last year.
Okay, I don't know what that has to do with anything. I think we win. Home field advantage being the main key to that victory. And then week 18 at Baltimore. First of all, we'll be at 8-5-1, 9-5-1. I lost count.
10-5-1.
10-5-1 at Baltimore. See, it's so hard to predict with the final week of the year, as we've said, when we made our early season predictions, because of the fact that we don't know who plays, who doesn't play. Based on full strength, Baltimore probably wins this one, but except swept them last year. You never know. But final record 10-6-1. Definitely overachieving for a lot of people, considering that what everybody expected this team to be this year. But I'll say this. I didn't mention this earlier when I was talking about the Lions game. If that game doesn't scare you as a Steelers fan about our future, I don't know what will. I'm sorry. Mason Rudolph, you're not that guy.
To me, you got to draft a quarterback next year.
Do we? Yeah, but we've tried that. We had Dobbs. He hasn't turned into anything.
Round though, Sean.
I know, but still, I have no faith in this team drafting a QB.
Draft a Pittsburgh guy. Can you pick it?
That's what a lot of people are saying, but do you take the gamble and try to draft another QB? Or do you try to go out and get somebody? I don't know what the QB free agent class looks like. I don't trust Dwayne Haskins. I'm sorry. I really don't. I still think he should have won the job post preseason, but Mike Tomlin has to answer that for himself. I don't know. I'm very concerned about what this team is going to look like after Ben retires, because Rudolph, you could go walk over into Lake Erie, and I don't think Pittsburgh is going to miss you.
Yeah, I was on a stream. I think I want to say it was Saturday night, and the news came in. The news just came in about Mason Rudolph is going to start. And then,
I was pissed. I was waiting for Chinese food after work. I was literally sitting inside the Chinese place. I look at my phone. I drop my phone. I'm not even kidding. Everybody was looking at me. I was like sitting there.
I was on a stream, and then someone made a joke about hitting Mason Rudolph in the head or something like that. It wasn't a Browns fan though, and I said, yeah, basically it's like playing whack-a-mole when he's on the field.
One of the guys at work pretty much said that's the reason Rudolph sucks is because of Myles Garrett, the Walter Payton Man of the Year.
Right.
No, I like, you know what it is? Rudolph, he's a good backup. He's not a starter.
That's what I say about Mike White.
Because he did show flashes,
right.
But ever since his knockout against the Ravens, he was never the same. You know, you look pre-Ravens game that year, he was going off. The Cincinnati game, they won 27-3. You had the game against Seattle, which they unfortunately lost, but he still had I don't know what happened, but after that game, he hasn't been the same. And it's a shame because he really showed what he had. You know, he had talent, but ever since that game,
talent.
No, you really don't. You never did. You had talent, then why ain't you starting right now?
Right.
I didn't say talent in football. I did not say talent in football, but keep going, Sean.
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, let me ask you this, guys. There were Steeler fans going out there saying if we still had the duck, they would have won. Do you agree? Because I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. That game
right there. That game versus the Lions.
Yeah, I know. But are we just going to forget about that game he had against the Bills? in 2018. Don't bring him in. I like the Duck as a person, but not as a player.
Sean. No Aaron Boone crap. Well, he's a nice guy. Don't do that.
But I'm not, but that doesn't mean I'm going to give him praise as a player.
Not on this show.
I said I wasn't giving him praise as a player.
Not on this show. Not on this show. Anyway.
Whatever. I just realized I'm repping 3 of my teams right here. Jeter, Steelers, Knicks.
You're missing the Notre Dame, by the way.
I am missing Notre Dame, but
and they won 28-3 something to freaking Auburn.
Choked away and lost, right?
I don't understand why that's not a meme.
I know, like people slept on that. I didn't get to see a lot of college football, but I did know the Irish won.
You did know.
Yes.
He did know that.
They actually didn't play. Let me say, they didn't actually play down to the competition.
Which I'm surprised, actually. I thought there were people picking Virginia to win.
Idiots. All of them. Anyway, so let's talk about the Giants. My team. Yeah.
Yo.
So obviously defensively, good team. Getting better. Not great in the pass rushing era, but gotten better over the last couple of weeks. Secondary is getting better. Defense is suitable. It's good, but the offense is garbage, straight up garbage. Jason Garrett's play calling, Joe Judge's timeout managing. He manages timeouts like a fucking beaver. Anyway, Daniel Jones being inconsistent, a lot of these other factors. With that being said, I have the Giants finishing 8-9. Sean's looking at me like I'm fucking crazy. Giants losing to Tampa Bay. This man's laughing at me. How about you let me finish before?
Go ahead. I want to hear this.
Losing to Tampa Bay, winning to Philly, winning to Miami, losing to the Chargers. Oh, come on, Sean. Miami.
Because remember, Miami just beat Baltimore. Anything's possible.
But it's outside of 1 week. They're fucking terrible. Anyway,
let's see how much momentum they keep coming after that one.
Hold on, let me see what they do the prior week because we faced in week 13. Who they face in week? Oh, fucking hold on. They face Carolina week 12. Yeah, no, absolutely not. And then the prior week they faced the Jets, which is this coming week. So we're beating Miami, losing to the Chargers, winning back home against Dallas.
I don't think so.
Losing.
I don't think you're beating Dallas.
Losing to the Eagles in the second game because Giants can never get it done in Philly. Winning to the Bears, winning the Washington football team.
The biggest one I disagree with, is that Dallas game. I don't think you're beating Dallas.
I think it might seem like, I don't know, ridiculous to say. I think they're the most real team in the league.
Dallas?
They go so undeterred against any opponent,
except for the Broncos.
Except
that's one game. Yeah, no, Dallas, no. That one. The Miami game, I feel like that's a toss up. The Chicago game, if it wasn't for Matt Nagy, I'd say Chicago beats you guys, no problem. But
okay,
Matt Nagy's holding them back. Did you not watch the game last Monday?
But here's the thing, though: it's either not a close game or a close game with the Giants against Bears, and against any team. But you play down the competition. You're supposed to be a better team.
Well, that's the Pittsburgh Steelers way. You should know this. We've been watching this team. You've known me for how long? This is how it goes.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Anyway, so Luca, what do you think?
In respects to a Chicago game, I'm actually gonna have to agree with Sean. But you know what? I'm not gonna lie to you. I still think Chicago has an outside chance to beat you guys, even with Matt Nagy.
But
I could really see
who are they winning to, and who are they losing to in the great games I just mentioned?
I could see a loss to Dallas, and obviously a loss to Tampa Bay. That's pretty much it.
No loss to the Chargers or loss to the Chargers?
Oh, forget about that game. I think they'll take the L.
Yeah, so you have them at 7-10. I have them at 8-9. So that would actually put them in the playoffs per my predictions, but I'm not saying anything yet. I'm not sitting here saying anything because, hell, they don't deserve to be in the playoffs. But, I got to update my Minnesota Vikings thing because, well, they beat the Chargers, and they're such a weird team. Such a weird. They beat Carolina or no?
Who?
Minnesota beat Carolina. They beat Seattle. They didn't beat. Okay, so I have them finishing at 6-11, but also once again that's very debatable.
Alex, there should just be a button to hit. Hang on, I'll look right now. Current standings, and it'll update it all for you.
Yeah. So. Okay. Anyway, could I go back to my predictions or no?
Well, you pretty much went through them.
Well, I'm just going back to my predictions on Playoff Predictor.
Oh, I guess.
Like undoing them. No, I'm saying undoing them or no.
Oh, I don't care.
Okay, that's the question I was asking was, can I with any button on there? I'm asking you, not your opinion, but I'm asking you, can I undo what I just did?
Oh no, I don't think so. No.
Good job. Anyway, I guess I still know what I picked.
Well, if you, I don't know if you have an account on there, but if you have an account, then you could just save whatever scenario you come up with.
Yeah,
and you can create your own schedule if you're bored. I do it a lot.
If I'm scared, if I do that, and I also lost my 3-point pick because the friggin' Rams don't know how to do anything. That's just
bro. Our pick game is so stupid right now because
it's stupid, ridiculous, is what it is.
I know this NFL is screwing us over so badly.
At least I only got 6 picks right, plus the upset.
I got my upset right, but that's all I got right. Oh my god. I hate the NFL right now.
Question before I fix my mic. Hold on. Question.
Answer.
Biggest disappointing team, biggest surprising team.
Most disappointing.
Biggest surprise for me is the Cardinals.
I wouldn't say they're the biggest surprise. Most disappointing, I think, would have to go to Miami. At least, yeah.
For right now, I would say Miami or the Giants.
Miami. Well, a lot of people also had the Giants. Aside from Giants fans, nobody had expectations for them. That's why I really didn't include them.
But all right.
No, I'm just saying, like, the general public had no belief in the Giants, even with the defensive hype. I would say Miami is definitely the most disappointing. The most surprising. Ooh.
Obviously, the Texans.
I hate to say it, but, obviously I'm kind of going against what I literally just said. Everybody had high hopes for Dallas. I didn't. I had them going like Dallas. 7-10 this year. Dallas surprised me.
I had Dallas in first place the whole time.
I didn't. Because of their defense.
I think you're a bullshit artist, and I'll tell you why you're a bullshit artist. Sean, if you remember this correctly, you sat here and tantalized me for saying Dallas would win the division. Did he not? I remember
it's actually possible now.
I think you're right.
I had them at like 10 wins.
I had them like tied, like at 7-10. Like I had no faith in their defense. I don't deny that. I think you're right, actually.
Yeah.
I'm sure Alex will go back and Luca will go back and look because Alex doesn't want to see proof.
I said second or first place. I had Washington in third place, and that might they might be in fourth place by the end of the year because they suck.
Kansas City, I guess you could also say, has been kind of a disappointment.
They're going to get back up there, as Sean says.
They're bouncing back, though.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to look and see. New England's been kind of a surprise. They're marching their way back up.
Yeah. So I think that's it in terms of our NFL topic. I think we could close out with some college football for this week and next.
Alex, I want to ask you something. When are we going to stream our next Knicks game?
The Lakers.
I'd say we should do it when we play the Nets.
I'll look at the schedule.
It's like November. I want to say like
it's like after Thanksgiving. I want to say.
Yeah, it's right around that
Tuesday
time.
after
I'm so
Thanksgiving.
disappointed. I really want to go to Survivor Series this weekend. No, I can't get nobody to go. And I don't want to go by myself. And now I might not. Yeah, I can't
Like
even
a
take
loner.
off now because I want to see The Rock because
Was that
it's
Saturday?
Sunday. Well, because it's rumored that he'll be there because it's 25 years since The Rock made his debut. I want to be there so badly, but I can't get anyone to go. Sad times. I'll pull up the college football stuff.
Me and Luca might, and I mean might, go to the Jet game on Sunday.
Who do they play Sunday? I forget.
Dolphin.
They could win. I mean,
I'll be at MetLife for 2 weeks then. 2 weeks in a row.
we already got a ton of. Oh wait, never mind.
So I'll read off some scores that I.
You cover last week. I'll do next week.
Yeah. So obviously Auburn blowing a lead to Mississippi State.
28-3.
That should be a meme. I don't know how it's not. 43-34 was the final. UNC lost to Pittsburgh in overtime, 30-23.
That QB's promising.
Yeah. I like Kenny Pickett personally.
Yeah, so do I. And Alex started thinking future Giants QB.
If Daniel Jones is not the answer. Michigan beat Penn State in a game I watched heavily, 21-7.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Oklahoma finally lost. They finally lost to Baylor, 27-14.
Please tell me you're going to get to the Texas game.
Texas or Texas A&M?
No, Texas. They lost to Kansas, 57-56. Kansas.
Can't wait for Giants Eagles. Yeah, I can't wait either. I'm going to that game, so it's gonna be fun.
I'll be there too.
I wonder if the Eagle fans will be like, "Oh yeah, we run Pennsylvania." Yeah,
Bro,
Why would
one
they say
person
that?
says that. I dare you to give them my Instagram.
Why would they say that in another state though?
it just is a thing. Man, Eagle fans are the most irrelevant, Luca. Kind of forgetting that.
No, they're just brain dead.
Yeah. If Sean wasn't working or doing anything Thanksgiving weekend, we'd take him along. But
Yeah.
what was it? Texas A&M lost to Ole Miss 29-19. Wake Forest beat NC State 45-42. Iowa, in a pretty competitive game I watched, beat Minnesota 27-22.
Florida allowed 52 points to Samford.
I just don't
The
know how.
final was
and then they
70
blew
to
it. And they blew
52.
it.
70 to 52 was the final. That was a college basketball score.
That unfortunate.
By the way, we had some good college basketball this weekend too. Did the Irish win their game?
Yep, the Irish won their first game.
I know CSI. We just won our first game. I think we're 1-1 now. The men's team. I think the women's team is still undefeated.
Yeah.
2-0.
University of Texas San Antonio remains undefeated as they won to Southern Mississippi 27-17. Arkansas beat LSU 16-13. LSU has just fallen off the flat face of the earth. Ohio State, they kicked Purdue off. Well, Purdue had like a streak of beating top-ranked teams, but now that's cut. 59-31 was the final score. And then Cincinnati continues their undefeated streak, beating South Florida 45-28.
All right, I'll look at next week. We got some college football tomorrow from all irrelevant schools that mean nothing to us. Thursday night, Louisville, Duke. Okay. Let's see. All right, the Irish host Georgia Tech, 2:30. Excuse me. I got a chip in my throat.
If I'm not doing anything, I might stream that game.
Yeah. They are. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. All right, I got a chip stuck in my throat. Irish are 16-point favorites. Michigan State, Ohio State. That's a good one. Ohio State is 19-point favorites
Against
Michigan State. I don't know about that
I
one.
don't agree with that. I don't agree with the spread at all.
Oh,
I'm taking freaking Ohio State by
Ohio State will win, but like
not by that much.
by that much. Let's see. Number 12, Wake Forest goes to Clemson. Clemson's favored. Wow.
Clemson's going to lose, I have a feeling.
They probably will. Everybody will laugh at their despair. Penn State Rutgers. Hope Rutgers actually like beats them. That'd be really
See, it's two games I dislike.
yeah.
Dislike Rutgers for some reason. Like,
Really, you don't like Rutgers? I don't have a problem with them. Probably because the Irish beat them in the Pinstripe Bowl back in like 2013. So I never hated them. Actually, that was one of the schools when I was a kid I wanted to go to because I thought that was the only school in the New York City area at the time. I was like 6. I didn't know.
Yeah, 6.
See, Illinois, Iowa. Well, Illinois is garbage, so that don't matter. 25 Arkansas goes to Alabama. Alabama 20 and a half.
We all know that.
I know. It's just fun to hope. Nebraska, Wisconsin. That's a good rivalry.
Iowa State, Oklahoma.
I'm reading through everybody. I'm not in order top 25. I'll get there.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, Virginia. That could be a good one. Florida, Missouri. That could be interesting. UConn, UCF. UConn actually had a 7-0 lead on Clemson this weekend.
And then they blew it.
And then they lost like 52-7. Good rivalry. Big rivalry. UCLA, USC. UCLA 3-point favorites. I love that rivalry. That's actually like one of the more underrated in college football. Go bro.
We got some bots in here, so give me 1 second.
Jesus Christ.
They're back. See, that's how you know we're getting popular. Go Bruins on Saturday. Again, that's like one of my favorites. Alex, just tell me if I can continue. Okay. Baylor, Kansas State. That's another good rivalry. 5:30. Auburn, South Carolina at 7. Auburn is favored by 7.5. California, Stanford. There's some good rivalries in the Pac-12 this weekend. Oregon, Utah. That'll be a good one. Miami, Virginia Tech. That one. Yeah.
You post hateful and political comments, bots. That's what you get. You get a result of a timeout. Fucking asshole.
And that pretty much wraps up college football for me. Unless I missed any, but
let's see. Michigan versus Maryland.
Got that.
UAB versus UTSA.
No, I'm not. I didn't focus on that.
Well, I'm putting.
Dude, look at these bots. What the hell?
I put it in timeout and reported all the comments. So anyone who's like, actually, I reported that shit.
Again, we said it like when we first created this. No politics.
As I said, I don't tolerate that shit.
No politics. Now, obviously, this is just a bot, but
yeah.
Damn, that's.
Yeah, I've never gotten that before. I've gotten.
Damn, I can understand like the sex bots, but damn, that's a new one. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, whatever. Prairie View A&M versus Texas A&M.
I didn't get that because I didn't cover any FCS matchups.
Why are you talking
because
about
I can, Luke. Okay, you do anything? No, you don't. Baylor, Kansas State.
I got that.
I think that's it for me.
Yeah. Also, I'm not going through college basketball because there's like 500 schools in Division I, but that St. Francis do, out of curiosity, this weekend.
I actually don't have a fucking clue.
Damn.
Real quick.
Like I said, I know CSI's men's team is.
I don't know, Evan. I don't know.
CSI is 1-1 in on the men's side, and on the women's side, I believe we're 2-0.
The fact that I'm going to take 1 minute, I'm not going to make this into a whole discussion, but the fact that YouTube allows bots, but they take away subscribers and they take away the dislike button is so fucking backwards.
Yeah.
They took away the dislike count, and I hate that so much.
St. Francis lost their first 2 games. They lost to Wisconsin 81-58.
They played Wisconsin?
Yeah,
they're Division I school in terms of college basketball.
They lost to St. Thomas, Minnesota, 91-73.
Oh, that's bad.
On Thursday, they play Penn State.
No.
Ooh, I haven't even heard of the schools we play.
I'll root for my fellow basketball team.
Hang on, I'll pull up our.
It'll actually be on Big Ten Network Plus.
Oh,
Damn. Okay.
So,
Y'all should go now. Y'all should go. You'll be on national TV now. Real quickly, I'll pull up and see. I want to confirm what CSI did. I want to go. I was gonna go to one of the games, but with work, it's tricky. Trying to find the athletic page. Getting there. Okay, here we go. Oh, never mind. I guess they lost. They're 0-2. They lost to the University of New Haven, 81-50. And then we lost to St. Rose, 112-54. Good Lord.
Yeah.
And then I'll check the women's team just out of
90
curiosity.
Nighty night.
Yeah, maybe I'll reconsider.
90 night.
Get ready for baseball season. Whatever. I'm not even want to look now.
You're so unappetized.
Yeah, no, now I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah. Final thoughts, Luca, Sean, and me.
Good discussion as always. It was great to have Donald on. He even said so in a message to all of us in private DMs. Good to talk basketball, baseball, and football as always. Knicks win tonight. That was big for them. Even if it wasn't the most shooting game, good defense all around. Yeah, pretty much that's that.
Sean?
It was just another good night. I apologize. I got home. Actually, I didn't leave work until like 9:15 because of let's just say reasons, which I really don't want to get into because I was a little heated, but that's all right. I still made it. I was like, you know what? Am I gonna be able to make it? I'm like, you know what? I'll make it anyway. It was another, good for the time I was here. I'm sure Alex was desperate for viewers until I got here.
Okay.
I'm only kidding. Shout outs to Donald for covering for me for a little while. Appreciate that. Real quickly, though, I do want to say tomorrow will be a tough one. Tomorrow actually marks the 1-year anniversary. Tomorrow will be 1 year since my Aunt Cookie passed. I love her. I miss her. We're going to have a little ceremony for her tomorrow, so we'll have that. And, I miss her a lot, but I know she's been looking out for me, and had a lot of good things happen because of that, because of her and a lot of family members. But other than that, that's pretty much it from me.
Guys, haven't already liked, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you know when live stream pops or drops. Next Monday we'll be live for the Giants-Bucks game, so you got the same crew here. This man's gonna be on play-by-play for the whole time.
I'm gonna laugh at Alex, and Alex is gonna probably jump through the ceiling.
Yeah, I'll punch the TV, do something like that. You'll watch it. Watch for content coming out throughout the week.
All I'm gonna say, Luca, is if the Giants win, hide. Hide.
I don't think the Bucks are losing 2 weeks in a row.
Shouldn't I hide if the Giants lose because he's gonna get angry?
No, because then you could just at least laugh at him. If Alex wins, he's gonna act like a total moron. He's gonna go partying. He's gonna go running down the street butt naked. We beat the Bucks. We beat the Bucks. He'll have he'll paint like an NYG logo.
Yeah, you're a clown, Sean.
Yeah, I'm a clown.
Yeah. So we'll do that, and then Wednesday we'll be live for Boys in the Big Apple once again, and also, after this week, no shakeups of any schedule until possible Monday night game against the Browns for the Steelers. So for about a month straight, you'll have us.
Nighter. I forgot about that.
You'll have us straight for Mondays until that. Just keep out, watch for content. Appreciate you guys. 307, 308 subscribers. So if you haven't already, please subscribe. Help out the channel. Peace out. See you later. Stay cool. Have a good night, everyone.